It was straight. It was like a curry. Was it a curry? Yeah, it's like curry and rice. It was like it's actually kind of like corned beef. Really? Yeah, that man. Dope. Actually.
I've been working on like an intro to the Dominican cookbook, like just to make it easier for people to want to dabble into the plant life. Because alkaline is a little too like extreme to go from eating everything.
Or you're going to heal from being sick.
Exactly.
You know, but everyone's different.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be complicated to figure it out.
No, not at all.
Vegan too. They really confuse people with that.
Yeah. But no, people literally. So.
And they think that like it's all right.
It's gun talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's gun talk.
Oh, we live, baby.
Man, it feels nice.
I'm usually
I wonder what. Some of the stuff it's like what is this? Everything is like really, everything is really just like I got this action. What do you mean? Because it's like I was saying, it's nothing new. It's not new. So everything they have already exists. Everything that they have is just about locale. Okay. So the UCC is the Uniform Commercial Code. It's already uniform business. How people did.
Todd always says that back engineer shit.
What's that? Hey, Gracie, what's the dude's name? Hammurabi? Who? Hammurabi? Is that
Hammurabi's Code of Law? That guy?
Yeah, that's the vibe. Yeah, that's what it was like. And I feel like this. 45 like this. Oh yeah, UCC. It's just a code is just a code like 45 block. So the first code is kind of like code law. So it was like, oh yeah, it is. Look it up. We ready? Ready spaghetti? So there's gonna be
Any questions from last week? Any questions? What's yours?
Who's yours?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a
Oh,
password.
thank you.
Can't think of it right now.
Any questions? I'm already on. I'm on YouTube already.
Oh, okay, good. Or the second IG.
The gram. Any questions? No questions. No questions. None. Zero questions.
Okay, recap for last week. That's my
No.
question.
It's not a question.
Yes, it is. What did we go over last
We
week?
went over a lot of stuff last week. Any next question?
Wow, look, there's new people here, and they didn't even get to listen to what you said.
That's what I do.
So last week we talked about some constitution stuff. We talked about the 3 issues at law, which is status, jurisdiction, and venue. We went over that. Your status is your citizenship. We specified that your citizenship is your political allegiance, and citizenship and nationality have overlapping concepts, but they're different. So we can see how you can be a German national, meaning you're German by blood, and still be a Chinese citizen, which is just basically your allegiance, right? So one's nationality, one's political allegiance, right? When you read the definition of nationality in Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition, it will specify that nationality determines your political status, especially with reference to allegiance, because it would be assumed
that you would have allegiance to your own people. That's not always the case, though. Then, when you get Black's Law Dictionary, look up the definition of political. It talks about the capacities and incapacities that a person has, as far as which rights they have, which rights they can enforce, which rights they cannot enforce. And all of that deals with status, because your status, which is the first issue at law, is your mental competence. So, if you don't know who you are, that affects your political status. That affects who you have allegiance to. That affects which laws apply to you. That affects which laws don't apply to you. It affects every single thing you do in your everyday life. As an example, we went over taxes. Remember last week, right? Article 13, Section 5 of Rhode Island State Constitution specifies that nothing in the Constitution for the state of Rhode Island shall grant any city or town the power to levy, assess, or collect taxes. Then I said, who here has a car? You all raise your hand if you have a car, right? Raise your hand if you have a car. Who here pays excise car tax on that car? See how status and jurisdiction affect everyday life? Because if Rhode Island State Constitution, Article 13, Section 5 says, nothing in this article shall grant any city, town, etc. to levy, collect, or lay taxes, why are you paying taxes to the city?
One more time.
Because your status, which is your mental competence, is you weren't aware. Right? It's just like if you go into a swamp and you come out with a tick on your hand and you don't know what it is, so you just leave it, well, that's going to cause a problem. Right? Because you don't know what it is and you don't know what it's doing to you. Right? So, to deal with status and jurisdiction, competent, then no one has jurisdiction over you. Right? So, when you're a child, you say, Ma, can I have whatever? And she says, no. Why? Because she has jurisdiction over you. When you're an adult, do you need permission to go to your refrigerator? No. Why? Because no one has jurisdiction over you. When you're an adult, can someone tell you how to live your life? No. Because no one has jurisdiction over you. So why is it that the state says you cannot have a plant in your pocket unless you have a license? Because they're claiming jurisdiction over you. Why does the state say you can't have a business unless you have a business license? Because the state is claiming jurisdiction over you. Why does the state say you can't even get inside your own car unless you have a license? Because the state is claiming jurisdiction over you. Then when you look up the definition of license in a law dictionary, which if you don't believe me, feel free to go to 250 Benefit Street, Providence, Rhode Island, Supreme and Superior Court, go to the 8th floor, that's the law library, ask the clerk for Black's Law Dictionary, Bouvier's Law Dictionary, Ballantyne's Law Dictionary, and then look up the definition of license, and you'll see where it says a license is permission. Then you read the Christian Black Codes of 1724, and it says blacks and other slaves cannot have any businesses unless they have permission from their masters. So now you tell me, is that still in force? Yes, because a license is permission. Then it'll say blacks and other slaves cannot hold any weapons or blunt objects unless they have permission from their masters or they have a badge to carry a gun. Permission. Or a concealed because you have a badge. So does the Christian Black Codes of 1724 still apply to today? Abso-positively-looply. So now what I'm about to go over is called, we mentioned it last week. It's called res judicata. My penmanship is impeccable, I know. Res, let's guess what language this is. Latin. Guess what language they told you was a dead language? Latin. Guess what they speak in court? Latin. So every time our people want to sue a cop because they murdered us, or we want to march and pray and say we need justice in these courts, that's what they're speaking in the courts. Right. So guess what language we should know? Latin. Imagine that. So res judicata, res is Latin, it means a thing. Judicata means already. So res judicata is referencing a case or a phrase from a court case that has already been decided. I asked y'all last week, who knows what res judicata is, and no one raised their hand, and I said, yes, you do. And then I said, who's familiar with your Miranda rights? Ever heard of that? Have you heard of Miranda rights? That is res judicata. Because it was decided that before a cop can interview you or investigate you, they have to specify what your rights are. That applies everywhere because of Article 4, Section 1 of the Constitution. So I'm going to read that one more again. And if you can't deal with my corny jokes, I suggest you leave now, because I'm fucking full of them.
Y'all missed it. Y'all should have been there. We had some goats. I had goat. I had goat. And the jokes was like you said,
Impeccable?
impeccable.
I know. So, Article 4, first of all, let's do this. Let's read Article 6. This is from the United States Constitution. Article 6, Section 2, it specifies that this Constitution, meaning this document, and the laws of the United States, which is codified in the United States Code, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, meaning pursuant to this document, and all treaties made, meaning any documents between the United States and any foreign country, or which shall be made, or any treaties made in the future, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. Any question on that? This document, meaning the Constitution itself, including the Bill of Rights, the laws of the United States made in pursuance to this document, meaning the United States Code and judicial opinions that don't violate this document, and all treaties made before this document was written, and all treaties which shall be made, meaning all treaties entered into after this document was written, is the supreme law of the land, right? So the word shall, S-H-A-L-L, if you look it up, get this app. E-T-Y, hold on, let me write it down somewhere. It's an app for your phone. So you look at what words mean.
If you just hit in the word and just type in the etymon, it take you straight to the app anyway.
It does? E-T-Y-M-O-N-L-I-N-E. You can do .com or get the app. I suggest you get the app. It's at the bottom right, etymononline.com. So if you type in the word shall, S-H-A-L-L, it means must. It means obligation. It means obligated. It means have to. So when it says that the Constitution shall be the supreme law of the land, that means there's nothing else. There's nothing above it. You can't waive it. You can't go against it. Nothing. Right? And then to support that, it continues by saying, or by reading, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. What does that mean? That means every single judge in every single state of the United States colonies is bound by this document itself, the United States Code, and all treaties. That's what that means. Anything in the Constitution, meaning anything in this document, or laws of any state, meaning any state constitution, any state general laws, any state general codes, any state general statutes, any state ordinances, policies, whatever you. To the contrary, notwithstanding, meaning anything from municipality on up to state, city, town, district, bureau, ordinance, etc., anything from anywhere of this union, contrary to this, does not stand in law. Simple, right? Simple. So now let's look at Article 4, Section 1. Article 4, Section 1 states that full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state. Simple, right? That means one state says something, every other state has to recognize it. Hence your Miranda rights. Happened in California, right? they beat the fuck out of somebody, right? And then investigated him without reading his rights. The court said that was wrong. You have to read people their rights, and now that applies everywhere, right? There you go. Miranda versus Arizona? Yeah, I think so. See how simple this is? Who here has been to court before? Who here has heard the prosecutor or the judge reference another case during your case? That's res judicata. So do they apply this? Absolutely. Shouldn't you apply this? Absolutely. All right, and then later we'll see why your attorneys never fight for your innocence; they only fight for a deal. But anyway, so res judicata. Any questions on what it is?
I think already decided. Like, and you said you ain't say nothing about Morris couldn't answer questions today,
Right.
so I'm answering them to you.
I said, are there any questions? Not whatever you're doing.
He was recapping.
Oh yeah, good job. You did great. Thank you. My assistant teacher, everyone.
And I'm studying too.
My substitute teacher.
Exactly.
No questions? All right, another word you should be familiar with is stare. S-T-A-R-E. Guess what language that is? Latin. Decisis. Guess what language that is? Latin. Stare decisis means to stare or to look fixedly at a decision. Stare decisi. Or they'll say stare decisi. Tomato, tomato. Don't let them play you in court because they will try to play you. So res judicata and stare decisi are similar. The Constitution is stare decisi because we look at it to make our decisions. Is A, B, D, C, and E constitutional or not? We're referencing the Constitution, right? Res judicata is more dealing with, like I said, Article 4, Section 1, which is dealing with the common law. The common law is common sense. Common sense is something that the divine creator gave every single one of us. You just have to apply it. You know that feeling when you feel like, hey, something ain't right? Common sense. Right? This is common sense. If I'm a cop, you're a cop, and I murder someone, can he investigate me?
No.
Why not?
Conflict
of interest. If you're my father, and I murdered someone, can you investigate me? Chances are you're probably going to say, oh yeah, he's innocent. He didn't violate anything, he didn't do anything wrong. So why do we ask the cops to do investigations on the cops that murder us? Who here has heard of the Fraternal Order of Police? So you're telling me they have a fraternal order where they refer to each other as brother and sister, and you're going to ask them to investigate their brother or sister. Does that make sense? You see how common sense is common law? And you'll read in the law where it specifies that even if there's an inclination of bias, a judge has to step down. When you read AmericanBar.org, even if there's an inclination of bias, a possibility of it, that prosecutor has to remove themselves. So if that applies in court, don't you think that applies to the cops? Because no one's above the law, right? Common law is common sense. So now, if we have common sense and we know, okay, if you call each other brother and sister, it doesn't make sense for your brother to investigate you. Maybe we should do our own investigation. How about that? Because the police do the investigation, give it to the prosecutor, who the prosecutors work with the police every day. And we expect what? What do we expect? Justice? How? If you tell me my wife owes you $40 and you want me to litigate, oh no, she's not guilty. I don't care what you fucking say. She don't owe you shit. You know what I'm saying?
You don't believe me.
Common sense. Any questions on that?
Would there be any difference when there's quote unquote an agency that is federal coming in to investigate?
So what you're talking
local-
about, there's a book, it's called The American Constitutional Interpretation, 2nd edition. Write that down.
Repeat that, please.
the American Constitutional Interpretation, second edition. I think it looks like $40. I had it, I just didn't bring it today. And you'll see on page 11, it specifies that nothing in the Constitution allowed Congress to create any type of federal police force. Now the word "un" means not. So the word unconstitutional means not constitutional, which means the entire FBI is unconstitutional because it's not written within the Constitution that they have the power to do that. And then when you read the Church Committee of 1974, you see where the United Senate admitted that the FBI, the CIA, and the IRS was unconstitutionally murdering people, breaking into their homes, burning their houses down, committing perjury in court, falsifying evidence, and withholding evidence that would admit someone's innocence and throwing them in jail anyway. That's what the Senate said, Senate.gov. And then if you watch the video we did last week, you'll see that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and Congresswoman Karen Bass all admitted that COINTELPRO 2.0 is on the rise, targeting our people, specifically our people. And then you'll see in 2017, the FBI released the Black Identity Extremist List. It was exposed to the Congressional Black Caucus, so they changed the name to Racially Motivated Extremists because they don't want to target black people, even though they're still targeting black people. But they had to pacify you, so no. That's not Congress's job. And you'll also see the 10th Amendment where it specifies that all the power and rights are reverted back to the states and the people. That was a great question. Any other questions?
What about the CIA too, right?
CIA is also unconstitutional.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they do is unconstitutional. If you look up the CIA's biological weapons program, actually pull it up right now on your phones, Google it. Google it. CIA biological weapons program. Or you can just put bio weapons program, or you can just put weapons program. And you'll see a video of, I think he was a senator, Senator Church from the Church Committee, imagine that, before the floor of Congress in 1975 during the, I think it was Muhammad. So our people were definitely not paying attention. Where they admitted that the CIA had a heart attack gun.
Yes.
Where they froze fish toxins, put it in a modified, I think it was 1911, and shot it at people. And it left like a mosquito bite, and since it was ice, it melted, so there's no evidence, and people would die of a heart attack. And if you Google search CIA biological weapons program on Wikipedia, you'll see that they weaponized coronavirus.
It has a patent too.
Of course they have a patent. And you'll see that the coronavirus patent is from the Purebright Institute, which is funded by Bill Gates. You see they mutated the coronavirus in chickens. And then remember before the coronavirus hit, they were doing the Popeyes versus whoever chicken sandwich challenge, right? And then you'll see in chickens, it messed with their reproductive system. And then you'll watch this show called Utopia on Amazon, and you'll see that the disease messed with people's reproductive system. And then you'll look at Bill Gates, his ancestry. He's a eugenist. With the eugenist, laid down a foundation for the Nazi Party to murder all those Jews. And you'll see where Bill Gates talked about depopulating the planet. Yes.
Kind of on and off topic. Have you seen The Fall of the Cabal in the sequel?
No.
I've seen it. Yeah. Crazy.
They went all into Bill Gates. All into it.
He's a Sith Lord. Anyway.
Big time.
So back to common sense. It don't make sense to have the police investigate themselves, right? It just doesn't. Common sense is. So I kind of made this reach, right? I mean, it's kind of connected, but not really. I just wanted to have fun. Common sense is dealing with philosophy, which is dealing with the Philosopher's Stone. Who here has heard of the Philosopher's Stone? It's not a rock.
Right.
It's your pineal gland. Ain't no rock gonna make you intelligent. It just don't work like that.
Dreams crush.
Huh?
I said dreams crush.
So this is what they do because they're magicians. And if you doubt that they're a magician, spell magic. M-A-G-I-C. Spell magistrate. M-A-G-I. Wait a minute. And then if you look up like Zoroastrianism, Zoroaster, Rastafari. Zoroastrianism, you'll see that, they have symbols of people wearing this. And their high priests were called Magi. Black represents Saturn. Saturn represents discipline. Right? Saturn is Saturday. Honor the Sabbath. I say Saturn in Spanish. Oh shit, imagine that. So, they're magicians, they're high priests, they know all this stuff. Their goal is to get you to focus on shit outside of you. So they're gonna say Philosopher's Stone is a rock somewhere. Or Philosopher's Stone is a book you gotta read, or some tablets you gotta read. When it's really your pineal gland in your brain housing group, and it secretes a bunch of oil, which is why Jesus said, anoint my head with oil, and they started in his forehead, and then you remember they said Simba, it's a sign. Right? So they've been telling you since you were a child. Anyway, the word philosophy means the love of studying. The word phil means to love. And if you doubt what I'm saying, go to eddymononline.com, which is not my website, or just get a dictionary and you'll see phil means love. So like philanthropy, right? So since we know that the Philosopher's Stone is your mind, you have been told that you were God on this earth by you having the title of human. Hugh, everyone take their phones out, please. EtsymonOnline.com. Follow along. I'm about to prove to you that you're God. This is not my belief. It's not my opinion. I'm not pushing my religion on you. I'm not pushing my dogma on you. I'm not pushing my creed on you. I'm simply going over language. EtsymonOnline.com. Type in God. I'll do it with you because I'm your friend. I got 2 phones. Oh, I got the app. Look, Slack out. Don't worry, you can do it later. All right, type in God, Etymon Online, G-O-D. You see where it says Supreme Being? People stop right there. To where it says, so we'll just go over it. It says Supreme Being, the Christian God, image of God, God-like person, from Proto-Germanic, and then it gives the German word. Then it goes into the Dutch word, God, Old High German, Gott, German, Gott, Old Norse, Gut, which is uncertain origin, perhaps from Proto-Indo-European root, that which is invoked. That sound like a noun to you? Sounds like an action, don't it? So God is a verb, not a noun. So there's no pale-skinned sky daddy that's going to save you. Sky daddy ain't real. Say it with me. Sky daddy ain't real. No?
Sky daddy is watching right now.
No, hold on.
Y'all about to be careful.
All right, so it says that which is invoked. Then it says Sanskrit. Invoked. From root. I'm not going to pronounce that word. To call. Invoke. So then, when you study Egyptian hieroglyphics or the Metal Netter, which is Mother Nature, you see that HU is HW because W is a vowel. A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y and W. Because if U is a vowel, then what's two U's? Vowel. If A is a vowel, what's two A's? Two vowels, right? So, you see that HW is Egyptian. Who are the Egyptians? Look around. You're the Egyptians. HW means to invoke. Right? Now, same website, type in man. Same app, same website. Who means to invoke, right? Which is God. And then you'll see later when you study the consonant, sound, and language chart, because I know you will. I know you will. All of you will. You will look up the consonant, sound, and language chart, and you'll see that H is a guttural sound. Guttural meaning your throat, right? So is G, as in G. Right? And you'll see through the consonant, sound, and language chart, letters like B, V, and P are interchangeable. Guttural sounds like hard CK sounds. G sounds and H sounds are interchangeable. Sometimes T will. Because everything is vibration, right? Alright, so since you're so goddamn woke, what's man? M-A-N. What does it mean?
Think.
To think. So, if who means to invoke and man means to think, aren't you the invoking mind? Right? If we left this room, what would happen in this room? Nothing would happen. But as soon as we come in this room and we start touching shit, guess what happens? Stuff. So didn't you invoke that? Right? When you wake up, you say, damn, I'm going to have a shitty day. Don't you have a shitty day? Didn't you invoke that? If you wake up saying, I'm going to have a fucking great day, don't you have a great day? Didn't you invoke that? So now, in the Bible, when it says, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Thy will be done. Your will be done on earth, here, earth, as it is in heaven. And heaven's a state of mind. Why? Because you invoke your heaven. That's not about a sky daddy, it's about you. And when you go to church, don't you do libation where they pour stuff out? Huta, to invoke, to pour out,
For the dead homies.
to call upon. They're showing you God in your face, and you think it's sky daddy somewhere. It's you. You're the sky daddy. The sky daddy is in reference to your higher self. Just like the devil's in reference to your lower self. Sky daddy. Any questions? No questions? So now if I just told you that all these people are magi, magistrate, magicians, and they know all of this, and you walk into the room, don't they know that they're gods? So if you go in there not knowing that you're God, then guess what they have over you? Jurisdiction. Guess what jurisdiction, guess what language that's part of? Latin. Juris means right or positive. Diction, as in dictionary, right? What's in a dictionary? Words. Jurisdiction means right words. So if you're using the wrong words, whose fault is that? Especially if you're God.
You're bad.
All right, so you go in there saying, I'm a colored person. Color means anything fake. A semblance as, a semblance as distinguished from that which is real. Right? Then we went over color of law, which means fake law. Color of title, which is fake title. Color of authority, which is fake authority. Then we look up the definition of colored, and it stated that there's no legal technical signification to the phrase colored person, which the courts are bound judicially to know. Why? Because first there was the Word, and the Word was God, and God is what? A verb, right? And the Word was with God, and all things come into existence from Him, meaning the Word, because God is to invoke, right? So we create our existence with our words. So if you go into court not knowing words, whose fault is that?
God's.
Right?
Same thing.
Any questions? I'm making it real complicated. It's simpler than that.
It's big picture.
Yeah, everything is vibration, basically. So if everything's vibration, there's higher vibrations and there's lower vibrations, right? So good is a higher vibration, right? Bad is a lower vibration, right? Can you change bad's vibration to good? No, you can't. Can you make cold hot? No, you can't. You change it, which means it's not what it used to be. Right? So we go back to the 7 Hermetic principles, right? Polarity. Everything is the same. It's just degrees of itself. There's no distinction between hot and cold. You just feel it. Right? So you can't change things. You can't change a thing by its nature. That's what it is. Right? So we can't assume that words mean what we want them to mean. Right? Get it? Simple, right? Any questions on this before I start reading some stuff?
Have you heard of quantum grammar?
Yes.
What does that have to do with all this?
It's just vibration. And when you study grammar, this is amazing, right? If you go to Etymon online, that's going to be your best friend because you can look up words and it's just amazing. You look up the word grammar, which is derived from gram, which is derived from greb, which is derived. Well, that's the root word greb. So it goes grammar, gram, glyph, greb, right? What did the Greeks call Egyptian writings? Hieroglyphs, right? Then when you study hieroglyphs, which is a logographic language, which means the image, let's say you're looking at an image, right? The image above it, below it, gives you the context of what the word is. Same thing with the English language. You have root words and you have affixes, which is a prefix or a suffix, right? So when you add a prefix or a suffix to the word, that gives you the context of what the word is. So Egyptian hieroglyphics and the English language is the same thing. You don't have to believe me. You can look it up. You look up, just like I said, grammar, glyph, greb, and you look up graphemes, phonemes, and you'll see it's all sound. You see that sound in language, which word language means tongue, are two different subjects, but they have overlapping concepts, and you can study them independently. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Right, so when you deal with grammar, you're dealing with the science of language, you're dealing with sentence structure, you're dealing with semantics, you're dealing with syntax, which is all sentence structure, using words properly, pronouns, verbs, all the good stuff, right? So quantum grammar is this. A basic example. Black is an adjective. Black cannot be used to identify things because it's an adjective. It can be used to describe them. Like his sweater is not a black, it's a sweater. But the sweater is black. I'm not black. My skin is brown. I'm not a black man. Basic grammar. Get it?
Bars.
Just like I'm not yellow. Am I yellow? Am I pink? Am I gray? Am I purple?
Do you mind making some examples of denotative and connotative?
Yes. So denotative linguistics is dealing with language, is dealing with etymology. It's dealing with semantics, is using words properly, right? So we'll say good. Good is positive, right? Hey, you did a good job. Connotation is slang. So, hey, bro, those shoes are bad. I'm saying they're good, but I'm using a negative word to imply what I'm really trying to say, right? But when you're dealing with the science of language, which is a science, you can't do that.
It confuses people.
It confuses people. You know what I'm saying? Not just in court, like any other person. Like when Chinese people come in and learn English and they talk to so-called black people, they're confused. Because everything that they were taught about the English language is not being used by that person. So they're confused. That don't mean they don't like you. What the fuck are you saying? You know what I mean? Just like China and they start speaking Chinese, guess what you're going to say? What the fuck are you saying? I don't know that language. Right? So it's not about hatred and hating people and I don't like you because whatever the fuck. It's basic science. And they've kept us from science. And since y'all are new, please go to Google. And Google search General Education Board.
Oh, bars.
Hey, did you ever get ink?
So what did they just tell you? They're not going to make us or our children into shit. So when we go to their schools and we fail, is that because the school system is bad, or is that because they planned for that?
They say they have ample supply, meaning they have their own children that they're gonna reserve these positions for.
Right? And then we see these people, oh, they don't have enough black people working there. You think that's just because they don't like us?
You know what it reminds me of? When, like, I've been seeing this more and more, like, if you go to school and they teach you about like Christopher Columbus and you have children who are taught at home that that's not what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's the truth or not. It's what the curriculum is. And you're going to fail based on what the curriculum is. And that's, that's kind of what that, like, it gives me I guess a more articulated version of like.
They encourage you to hate learning. They encourage us to hate learning. And you can add, I've spoken to a lot of our people, and it's the same shit. They weren't encouraged in school, or if they were like advanced, they got put in like a special ed class. And then they'll tell you that they helped those children because they were advanced. Because we're advanced people. They just have to dumb us down and keep us away from learning so that way we don't fucking learn anything. Because knowledge rules on this planet, not emotion. Logic rules on this planet, not emotion. What builds bridges, logic or emotion? What runs courtrooms, logic or emotion? What runs government, logic or emotion? What builds the pyramids, logic or emotions? What feeds you, logic or emotions? So why are we so emotional? And then wondering why we can't build shit.
We tend to be in a childlike state.
Which is why they call us minors, minority. We think it's less numbers. How are we planet, but we got less numbers? The project is full of people that look nothing like you, that look nothing but people like you and me, but we got less people. How? Because they told us and we just believed it? Oh yeah. We just blindly trust them. So, General Education Board, which was incorporated by Congress, which means Congress knows what they're doing. They know why we're dumb. We don't. We just think, oh, the schools are bad, and teachers aren't getting paid enough, so worry about the children. Nah, they know it's bullshit. I had a English teacher. He was one of twins. They were both history and English. I'm in history. And damn, what the fuck did he tell me? Never mind, can't remember what he told me, but it was interesting. That's the whole point. He told me something that he told me not to tell people because then he'll get fired. Meaning these teachers know that what they're giving our children is bullshit, but they have to keep their job because they have a mortgage too. And they don't want to be like us living in the projects. Any questions on any of this so far?
So did you really forget what he told you, or you just saying that because you know?
No, I forgot straight up.
The way you made it, they
Nah, I forgot.
respect though.
All right, cool. Time to go into this. This is going to stay here. This is dealing with res judicata, so I'm going to read some of it. Res judicata is a principle or maxim in law that deals with cases already adjudicated, and said cases, either quotes or the case itself is then used for substantiating the accuser or defendant's proof of claim. Any questions on that? So you know how in school they taught you how to write an essay, right? You have your thesis, and then you have your supporting argument. That's res judicata. You're referencing other things. So if you're doing, I remember I had to do a report on SARS in like 3rd grade or whatever. So I had to Google what the hell SARS was. I didn't know what it was. So I formed my little opinion off of what SARS was. I copy and paste a sentence from some website, put that as the first sentence, and then my other arguments were Googling a different website of what SARS is and copy and pasting that. Boom. Right? So res judicata is used to substantiate your argument to better get to your conclusion, which is the basic shit we're taught in English, right? Basic. That's how they write cases. That's how prosecutors and attorneys defend or argue their case. Res judicata. Right? So, most of our people, when they go through a court situation, they're emotional. They say, I didn't do it, blah, 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 it's not right what they're doing, blah. Okay, cool. Now use logic to support what you feel. Right? Why not? Right? If you didn't do nothing wrong, why not use case law that says if there's no injured party, there's no crime, instead of you feeling bad? Right? Let me give you another example. If you hungry, does that feed you? No. You have to logically make yourself a sandwich. Right? Same thing. Simple, right? Stupid easy. Don't let them play you. So, it's used for substantiating the accuser or defendant's proof of claim, expression of pre-existing rights, Which means what? They already exist. No one can give them to you. No one can give you rights. They already exist. It's just you don't know that. Right? So now, if you have a right to go to your refrigerator, but you don't know that, are you going to go to your refrigerator? No. Right? If you have a right to have a plant in your pocket, should you go to jail for that? So why are people having plants in their pockets?
They don't know.
Because they don't know. A European Jewish attorney, give him 20 stacks. I'm gonna drop it down to a misdemeanor from a felony. I know the judge. I'm cool with the prosecutor. Just sign your rights away. The judge is gonna ask you if you spoke to me. Just say yes. Don't say nothing unless I tell you to talk. You go in there. The judge, you do your time anyway. Pay the court fees. Pay the attorney the rest of the $20,000 you owe him. You get out a free man. Then, years later, the state says, hey, we're going to legalize it, but you got to come to us to get it. So they got rid of the competition, and they became the #1 pusher on the block. But anyway, constitutional enforcement, the adherence to due process, or commanding the courts. I say asking. I say requesting. It says commanding the courts to act on a matter, make a decision, or issue a judgment or decree in your favor. Did I say asking, requesting, begging, pleading? It says, don't you command your children, hey, go do that. Right? So why is it that when our people go to court, they say, yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Fucking scared. Submissive. Why are you submissive? Why? If you can go in there and command the courts to do shit, why are you scared?
They don't know.
Lack of knowledge, right? So, write this down, please. A motion in court is a request, which you then give the judge permission to deny. You know if y'all got that. If you need me to repeat it.
You give the judge permission to do it?
Yes.
Can you repeat?
A motion in court is a request,
So by
which
using-
you give the judge permission to deny. Or, of course, accept. But 90% of the time, they're going to deny it. So now, if you ask me, hey, Jamal, can I have $1? You're asking me for a yes or a no, right? You're requesting it. But if you say, hey, bro, give me that $1, what's the difference?
Command.
Command, right? One, I have a choice in that. The other, I mean, I kind of do, but I don't. Either I fight back or whatever. You know what I mean? So, a writ, W-R-I-T, is a command. So now, when you go to court, do you make motions or do you file writs?
Writs.
Huh?
Writs.
Huh?
Writs.
Why?
Commands.
Because you're going to command the court to rule in your favor on decisions already made by other courts. That's what I want you to say. Because if you just say, oh, I'm commanding the court because I can, well, you're not above the law. You give them room to make that argument. But if you say, file this writ because I'm telling the court to do what it's supposed to do based on decisions made by previous judges in the federal court and the Constitution. So now can you tell me I'm above the law? No. Get it? Simple, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right?
Avoiding the back and forth.
Exactly. You box them in. Just like Kevin Hart said, right? You get into an argument with your girl, just yell about it. You always leaving the microwave on and leave. You don't give them room for another argument. Right?
So you follow that using as Judicata.
Huh?
Like with different cases, right?
Yeah, which this has a bunch of cases in it that I'm gonna leave here. So that's basically all it is. I mean, there's more that I'm not gonna read because everything you need to know is in the first paragraph. Right. Then I go into mental competence, which you already know. Let me see. All right, I'll just read competence real fast. Competence, which is your status, concerns the mental capacity of an individual to participate in legal proceedings or transactions, and the mental condition of a person must have to be responsible for his or her decisions or acts. So, if a child fucking slaps you, you already know, okay, this is a child. I'm not gonna beat you up, right? Because of their mental competence. They're probably just playing. They don't know their own strength. But if an adult slaps you, then you have the jurisdiction to beat them up because they should know that, right? Status. Also, if you can't build a house or you don't know how to build a house, can you build one? No, right? So if you don't know law, you think you know what your rights are? If you don't know law, you think you're going to win in court? If you don't know law, you think you're going to be able to tell if your attorney is playing you or not? Right? That's mental competence. It says duly qualified, answering all requirements, having sufficient ability or authority, possessing the requisite natural, or legal qualifications. Natural, what does natural mean? Take a wild guess. Natural, right? Natural. You're natural at that, right? Natural, like, oh yeah, I understand law. Okay, well then you're natural. You don't need legal qualifications. You don't need to go to the bar. You don't need to be admitted into the bar. You just need to know what they know, or know more than what they know. That's competence, right? Just like you can teach yourself anything, competence. See also incompetency. Incompetency, lack of ability, lack of legal qualification, or fitness to discharge the required duty. Meaning you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Easy, right? Easy fucking peasy, goddamn. Alright, so now let's go. Any questions so far? Just gonna let it marinate, huh? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, this is some res judicata right here. This is N. Ray Newman from 1858. It says, as a general rule, men have natural rights to do anything which their inclinations suggest, if it be no evil in itself, and in no way impairs the rights of others. Easy, right? It says, you can do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt others. So now, if you had 7,000 guns in your pocket right now, who did you hurt? So can the state, any government, federal, state, FBI, state police, fucking municipal police, city police, town police, sheriff, county, fucking sheriff's department, the deputy of fucking the Pope, can anyone tell you that you need a license to have a gun? Nope. Because of this case, right? As long as you didn't hurt no one, right? Right? Okay. Huh? In Ray. Oh, you guys hold this and write it down.
How about if the court denies it? Like they fail to acknowledge what we referenced there.
That's true.
Yeah, what would be the counter argument for that?
Counter argument for what?
If you were to bring that up in court, what would they have to retaliate?
They're gonna say some bullshit. They're gonna say, well, according to our own statute, you violated that, blah, blah, blah. That's why you go over Cruden versus Neal. But we'll get into that. So what I just read was N. Ray Newman. From 1858. 58 C502. Let's just go with gun charges. Let's continue with that. Let's see what else we can use. A court cannot confer jurisdiction where none existed and cannot make a void proceeding valid. It is clear in well-established law that a void order can be challenged in any court. Old Wayne Mutual Association versus McDonough. So, which we'll read a little later, is going to specify in order for a crime to exist, there must be an injured party, right? So, if jurisdiction can be challenged, with subject matter jurisdiction is the issue of whether a crime existed or not, right? So, if they're charging you with possessions of a, that's the subject matter, is the deadly weapon, right? This case law that specifies in order for a crime to exist, there must be an injured party, right? So, if you just have a gun, is there an injured party? So, what's your argument?
No crime.
You don't have jurisdiction over this matter. Because in order for a crime to exist, there must be an injured party. But then they're going to specify, well, according to Rhode Island general law, the statute, blah, 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 blah. Well, you're going to say, well, that is a statutory violation, which is civil, not criminal, because you're just saying I violated words. That didn't hurt anyone. So if it's a civil issue, that means there's no time, right? And they can't take your shit, right? Right? Now, is that my opinion or is that law? Right? This is from Williamson versus Berry. Courts are constitutional authority, and they cannot go beyond that power delegated to them. If they act beyond that authority, and certainly in contravention of it, judgments and orders are regarded as nullities. They are not voidable, but simply void. This is from Basso versus Utah Power and Light Company. Jurisdiction challenged at any time. What does any time mean? That means before a case, during a case, after conviction, after time served, right? Right? An individual unquestionably has the right to litigate his own case. Myers versus London City. So can they say, oh no, you can't do that? No. Why? Because you have the right to free speech. Let's see what else we got here. The Constitution requires that every effort be made to see that a defendant in a crime has not unknowingly relinquished the basic protections that the framers thought indispensable to a fair trial, which is why they have you speak to your attorney and waive what?
Your rights.
All of your rights. All of them. All of them. Why? Because if you don't, they can't do. But if you do, they can do whatever they want. Right? Why do you think your attorneys have never told you any of this? Because then they don't get the $20,000 that they're trying to suck out of you.
And they work for the court.
Steal from them.
Not stealing. You gave it to them. They said, I will do A, B, C, D, and E, and you gave them money. They didn't steal it. You agreed to it. And then you waived your rights. You did that. Yeah, they convinced you to do it. So, oh, don't worry, I'll get it dropped. Listen. First of all, they don't even know your name, so they go out, they say, hey, Bob here? Oh, yeah, hey, Bob, hey, listen. I already spoke to the prosecutor. It's Judge McDonough. He's cool. He's a cool guy. I've been warned many times. All you gotta do is just waive your rights and.
They don't say that. Just
No, they go over it. They go over it. They say that. They say that. They say that. They say that.
It's a waiver of your rights.
Yeah, I just need you to sign this waiver so that way I can speak to the judge, and then we'll get you out of here by 1. It's 2, but we'll get you out of here at 1. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Like I said, I've been before the judge many times. I'm gonna go in there. Just stand to my right. I need you to say anything, I'll just let you know.
Mind you, if you pay them $20,000, that's the only time you ever speak to the person.
You might have to say your name on the record. Other than that,
They don't answer your text messages or your phone calls or your
You
emails.
be lucky if they show up for you and don't send somebody else.
Do they say waiver or waiver of your rights? Like, do they make that?
Sometimes they'll just say waiver.
Yeah.
You just sign this waiver. Don't waive nothing. What are you waiving?
right? You saying bye to it. Well, say bye to your white girl.
Yeah.
That's what that wait for.
Say bye to your rights.
Say bye to your.
Right. Anyway, out on the street saying no justice, no peace. Stop the racist police. No justice, no peace. Stop the racist police. And then we go to court and waive our rights. What the fuck? What happened? What happened? No, for real, what happened? You know what that's called? Cognitive dissonance. That means your beliefs and your actions don't even match.
You wonder why we're crazy.
Yeah. You know what that's called in law? Constitutional psychopathic inferiority. Look it up. You're a psychopath. They don't even know it. Constitutional psychopathic inferiority. No justice, no peace. Stop the racist police. That shit's the bar's the bar of all bars. Stop.
I can't read.
And then you go to court amongst the corrupt and say, yes, I waive all of my rights. Do what you want with me. And then you're mad when they do what they want with you. Is it? Or do we agree?
You definitely signed.
We agree.
You.
It's fucked up. I agree with you morally, but on a higher moral totem pole, we agree. Every single time. That's why I told my mom, if they ever murder me, do not go on TV and say, stop doing A, B, D, and C, because that's what a Jamal would have wanted. Nope, that's not what I wanted. And that's what they do to our people. They get murdered, their mom's all emotional, they put a camera right in their face. Oh, my beloved son would not want you to stop all the rioting and the looting. He would want justice. He don't want to be dead, that's what he wants. State police power, threats to public safety, health, welfare, etc. Michigan versus Duke. So, if you have a gun in your pocket and no one can see it, is that an immediate threat to public safety? Is that an immediate threat to the public health and welfare? If you have a plant in your pocket, or 20 pounds of plants in your trunk, is that an immediate threat to public safety? If you have plants in your hand on the street, is that an immediate threat to public safety?
Not unless you slap the crap out of somebody with it.
So why are people going to jail? I'll tell you, they waive their rights.
What was it again?
California versus Michigan. Wait, sorry, no. It's Michigan versus Duke. Sorry. Michigan versus Duke. I'll write that down. My penmanship is amazing, I know. Tell me about it.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, after a person has already waived their rights and they have served time over having this plant in their package, right?
Yep.
And there's no time where you can, let's say, what was the word you used earlier?
What?
It has no time you can do this before, during, and after. So we can challenge jurisdiction over that case, although that person had agreed to waive their rights and be punished in whatever way?
Absolutely. Because there's something called an unconscionable contract. Unconscionable just means you weren't conscious. An unconscionable contract is something that no person in their right mind would agree to. So contracts are deemed invalid if they're made under threat, duress, or coercion. So now, if you're scared because the cops are saying, we found these plants on you, you're doing 20 years in jail. You're scared, right? You're probably going to sign anything, aren't you? Because you're under duress, right? Because these men were going to jail for having plants on you. So you're probably scared, huh? So guess what your argument is in court? Exactly that. That was signed under duress. I was threatened. I was in fear of my life, in my liberties, in my freedom. Also, as a judge, there's case law that specifies you are bound to no law. You are bound to protect my constitutional rights, and you know, this is how you speak to the judge. You know, in order for a crime to exist, there must be an injured party. You can tell that there was no injured party here. You can tell this wasn't a violent crime. It wasn't a crime at all. I just had plants on me. And then watch the circles. They talk in circles to try to confuse you. But guess what you don't do? You don't fucking let them confuse you. And you stand on the point. That's the whole point. That's the entire argument. Nothing else. They are bound to no law. They are bound to protect your pre-existing rights and liberties. That is their job. That's their only job. Second to that is determining facts. And then based on those facts, making a decision. But guess what their first job is? Protecting your pre-existing rights and liberties. What's his job?
Protecting your rights and liberties.
Your pre-existing
rights and liberties.
Are we able to reference a case very similar to that where a person was, let's say, let go free with the same case after they were able to defend themselves correctly?
Are you asking if you can reference that as res judicata?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What else we got? Oh, look. As stated by the Supreme Court of Illinois, in a case involving the same sect and an ordinance similar to the present one, a person cannot be compelled to purchase through a license fee or a license tax the privilege freely granted by the Constitution. So if the Constitution says you have the right to bear arms, then you cannot be compelled to purchase through a license, fee, or tax that privilege. Which means what? You don't need a gun license. Based on who? The Supreme Court of Illinois. Is that Jamal's opinion? Absolutely fucking not. In this case, reference is Blue Island versus Kozul. I'll write that down. Ow. So in this case, they are referencing what the Supreme Court of Illinois said. So I'm using res judicata, that reference, res judicata. Inception. I know, my jokes are fucking just nailing them. Just nailing them every single time. You're welcome.
We can assume that this also applies to other permits and licenses, right?
This just said license and tax, which means all of it. All of them. All of them. All of it. All of them. Every single one.
License to go fishing.
Don't need it. It says that in the Constitution, in the Rhode Island Constitution, that you have the right to fish. Anywho,
It said it,
yes. It don't say anywho, but it says you have the right to fish.
like specifically the right to fish.
Yes. A right which is free and open to all is not the subject of a license or tax. Chicago versus Collins. So, if you have the right to bear arms, can they license that?
No.
According to who? Chicago versus Collins. Is that my opinion? Is that my humble Christian belief?
No, that's res judicata.
Is what?
That's res judicata.
Well, these are decisions made by judges, right? That probably know. That was Chicago versus Collins. Collins. A right which is free and open to all is not the subject of a license or a tax. That's why our people don't get charged with bearing arms. They get charged with possession of a deadly weapon. They call it something completely different. Yeah, exactly. You're in possession of a deadly weapon.
And they say, no, it's not. It's already.
I have the constitutional right to bear arms. And don't argue that to the cops, because they will shoot you in the face. Argue that in court and get your shit back. Also, look, check this out right here. The United States Supreme Court ruled that a police officer cannot arrest a citizen merely for refusing to present identification. That is Colander versus Lawson. Kolender. Kolender versus Lawson. WSON. Where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rule or legislation which would abrogate them. Miranda versus the state of Arizona. So if the Constitution says you have the right to arms, can any state create any law specifying that you don't have that right? Now, what does arms mean?
Bearing
Yeah.
arms.
Yeah? What are you about to say?
I was about to say bearing arms means carrying things to protect yourself.
Both of you are right. So if you just have a gun on you, what are you doing? You're bearing arms and you're protecting yourself. Isn't that your constitutionally secured right? That is your constitutionally secured right. Which means no state, city, town, municipality, sheriff, state police, trooper, whatever, whoever you can think of, can tell you you can't do that.
Even after post-conviction?
Even after post-conviction. See, Weems, WEEMS, versus the United States. Have it in here.
Can you repeat that?
Weems, WEEMS, versus the United States. It's about a case where a Filipino male was sentenced to hard labor and he couldn't move. He was basically permanently deprived of his civil rights and liberties. The United States Supreme Court ruled that that violated the 8th Amendment. Now, when you look this up online, it'll only specify the hard labor. It doesn't make note to the fact that he was permanently deprived of his right to vote, his right to bear arms, his right to do anything else. But that's included in the cruel and unusual, cruel and unusual punishment. Matter of fact, let me just reference it. Because people say, Jamal, you're making it up. Which is very stupid. Here it is. Its minimum degree is confinement in a penal institution for 12 years and 1 day, a chain at the ankle and wrist of the offender, hard and painful labor, no assistance from friends or relatives, no marital authority rights, or rights of property, no participation even in the family council. These parts of his penalty endure for the term of imprisonment. From the other part, there is no intermission. His prison bars and chains are removed, it is true, after 12 years. But he goes from them to a perpetual limitation of his liberties. So, it was declared by the United States Supreme Court that there cannot be a perpetual limitation of your liberties, especially after time served. Because you're considered what? Rehabilitated. Right? So how don't they say don't do the time, don't do the crime if you can't do the time? So why is it after you do the time you're still punished? That's punishment. That's unusual punishment. Weems versus the United States. Right? It continues by saying, he is under the shadow of his crime, forever kept within the voice and view of the criminal magistrate, not being able to change his domicile, which means move, without giving notice to the authority immediately in charge of his surveillance, probation. You gotta talk to your probation officer. Can't leave the state, can't do nothing. Can't move if you wanted to, which means you have no liberties. That was declared.
What year was that?
Guess what's older than that? The
Constitution.
Constitution.
So by that definition, is probation unconstitutional?
Absolutely, unless you agree. Which, on conditions of probation, guess what they have? Defendant's acknowledgement of conditions. And guess what the defendant does?
So how do these cases, all of them, they're all kind of covering different topics, but how do they, I guess, interact with 14th Amendment and status?
14th Amendment is unconstitutional.
So is that, I guess, if you don't know that, is that kind of where they?
If you don't know that, then you're going to assume that you're a U.S. citizen and they can do whatever they want to you. Because you're already believing in something that's not real, so then they can definitely do whatever they want to you. You know what I'm saying? Do. No state shall convert a liberty into a privilege, license it, and attach a fee to it. Murdoch versus Penn. No state shall convert a liberty into a privilege, license it, and attach a fee to it. Murdoch versus Penn. Guess what they did with selling cannabis? They locked you up for it, and then they said, all right, you can do it as long as you have a license from me. So was it ever really a crime? Obviously not.
It's like savages, the movie. Except the government. You can do it.
We're dealing 101, right? You ready for your competition?
I'm gonna burn my license.
Don't do that. If the state converts a liberty into a privilege, the citizen can engage in that right with impunity. So, if state court violated your right to bear arms, guess who you tell? You tell on them. To who? The federal court. By doing what? It's called raising the constitutional question. You're basically saying, federal court, I'm questioning the constitutionality of the state's ability to deprive me of my rights. My right to do what? My right to bear arms. My right to have a plant in my pocket. My right to do whatever the fuck you want. And then you use all this res judicata made by previous judges that they have to abide by.
So you can just literally just ask a question for that case, like if you raise the federal question.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's called raising the federal question.
I know.
I'm asking the courts to determine if this unconstitutional act was unconstitutional. What the Constitution says about this unconstitutional thing.
Is it constitutional for them to demand a license for me to fish? Like that's basically how you word it.
And then you'll say, even though it says in Article blank of Rhode Island State Constitution, which is the Constitution, that I have the right to do that. And it should be obvious that obviously it's not in the Constitution, which means it's unconstitutional.
Will those be like internal proceedings with the feds, or like you have to go?
You have to sue the state court.
Yeah.
You have to.
So physically in the
Go to federal court.
Yeah.
Ask them to
I got copies of the crib.
the claim it's called what the fuck's it called?
I got copies of the whole.
Civil cover sheet,
The whole.
civil cover sheet, civil complaint form. You can do the IFP papers, or you can just pay the fee. It's up to you. And that's all you need. They'll just give it to you. Here you go. And you walk out and leave, and then they don't get fucked.
So we don't even have to pay that fee, right?
You don't have to.
You don't pay any
Register
fees.
Judicata again, right?
Exactly. No, we don't.
No fees, no lawyers,
Nothing.
it's free, except for however you get there.
Don't you have the right to petition the government for grievances? Isn't that your First Amendment right? So,
Didn't Murdoch, Merchant's opinion just say they can't attach a license or a fee to a
A right?
constitutionally protected right? So,
Which
yeah,
is
you
to go to
just-
court.
which is to petition the government for grievances.
Mm-hmm.
An example with the whole bearing arms, right? The rights to bear arms.
Mhm.
How does that apply when you are going into certain buildings? They say certain places you can't do it even though you have a political permit.
Who said that? Who said it? One, right?
Mhm.
And then does that go against the Constitution? It says in the Constitution, anything, let me read it one more time. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding.
Does a private business have the right to tell you can't come in here with that gun?
Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding.
So it's just basically the person that you were suing, it'd be a different person. You come into a private barbershop, and that private barbershop owner tell you that you can't have your gun in here. That private barbershop deprives you of the right for you to be bearing arms. So it's just different people. Like, is it the police? Is it the feds? Is it your neighbor?
Regardless, you say.
Now, if you go in someone's house, that's a little different. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, a home versus a public place
But
of
a
business.
business, any business,
Yeah.
government.
It's public,
not
right?
government,
School.
All businesses. So for instance,
Public.
with the mask, right? Business can say that they don't want to give you service if you don't have a mask.
No, that's discrimination. So now, why can't I have a gun in your establishment? Are you discriminating against me? Because the Constitution says I have the right to do this. It's not my fault.
Mhm.
Carry the Constitution in your pocket all day.
Any law
Or just know
of any state and cities, municipalities, counties, wards, bureaus, boroughs, that's included in that. So any of their laws, contrary to the state constitution and or the federal constitution, is notwithstanding, which means it has no legal effect, has no lawful effect, but they enforce it anyway because they know the people don't know and they make money off of it. The state is violating substantive rights. Owens versus City. And it cannot do by one power that which is, for example, prohibited expressly to any other such power as a law. So, if the executive branch can't take away your right to bear arms, then guess who else can? The legislative branch and the judicial branch. And that's from Owens versus City and U.S. versus, it's Utah versus Daniel. And Fairbanks versus U.S. It is not the duty of the police to protect you. Their job is to protect the corporation and arrest code breakers. See SAP versus Tallahassee.
Oh, you started laughing.
So, SAP versus Tallahassee was a case where a lady was brutally beat in a hotel. And the police watched her walk in and watched a bunch of men run in after her, watched the men run out, and watch her fucking come out all beat fuck up. They seen it with their own eyes. And it was declared that since the police had no contractual obligation with Miss Sapp, they didn't have to protect her. Read the case for yourself. It's in my book, actually. I'll talk about it in my book. Or you can just look at it for free. Google Sapp versus Tallahassee.
And what was the other thing you said after that? You said it's not their duty to protect civilians,
It's to protect corporations and arrest code breakers. You violated such and such statute of whatever the fuck. You violated such and such ordinance of whoever the fuck said whatever the fuck. Not protect you. Any questions on that? So when they say protect and serve, who they protecting and who they serving?
all corporations or like government
All corporations.
All corporations.
All corporations are registered to the government, so
True. True that.
unless it's private, which there are none.
Private corporations.
Any questions on that? So the police job to protect you. You see why they're murdering you? Easy, right? Simple, right? Is there any hatred involved? No. Don't they have their own, exactly, our own communities? Why? Because they have their own fraternal order of police. They got their own Masonic lodge. Skull and Bones, Knights Templar, fucking Knights of Malta, Knights of Columbus, Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. What we got?
It's on the way.
The barbershop.
Yeah.
They got Harvard and MIT.
People just get, I'm gonna call the police.
Yeah.
It's the first thing.
Yeah.
But that's weird.
Yeah.
That's what they.
There's no militia protecting the people.
I gotta get part of it.
All right, peace.
I take my boy to
Questions so far? Pretty straightforward. This is Board of Trade versus Olson. Board of Trade versus Olson. Olson. Board of Trade versus Olson. Olson. It specifies if this is a criminal matter, there must exist an injured party. Does that say if you want there could be an injured party? Or does it say must? Which means it's a requirement, right? If this is a criminal matter, there must exist an injured party, of which I would be obligated to make remedy to. If this is a civil matter, there must be an injured party or property, even onto a preponderance of evidence. If this is an administrative court, meaning traffic court as well, there must be an injured party as defined in the established rule of law. Board of Trade versus Olson. Questions on that?
All court.
Every single one. So now let's show you what court is. I know my art is just the best art out of all the art you've ever seen in art. Right? It's amazing, huh? Thank you.
It's not bad.
What? You sound. So, exactly. This is a tribunal. Guess what tri means? 3. Who are the 3 parties involved? The judge, the plaintiff, and the defendant. The plaintiff is claiming an injury, right? The plaintiff is claiming that something's wrong, right?
Yes.
So in order for a crime to exist, there has to be someone saying that you did something wrong, right? So if we have a contract and I violate that contract, you will be the plaintiff, saying that I violated this contract. I did you wrong somehow. So that satisfied that satisfies if it's a civil issue, meaning a contractual issue. You sustain some type of tort or injury. It's called tort. T-O-R-T. Tort claim. Right? So now if I murdered you, right, and your family is suing me, you would be the injured party. Because you're dead. Right? If I murdered someone and no one knows, to court? No, because there's no injured party bringing me to court. Right? So if you have a gun in your pocket, who's bringing you to court?
State of the,
Huh?
it would be like the state.
You said the state?
Yeah.
How is the state injured?
They're not, but they're the ones who want to bring it there.
Is that lawful?
No.
Simple, right? Didn't it also say in Article 3 of the Constitution, Section 2, that if there's issues between a state and its own citizens, that's supposed to be heard in federal court, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is the state prosecuting the state court? Because you don't know. And of course, you got an attorney, which an attorney is what? An officer of the court. So you agreed, didn't you? And then you'll read in Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, in proper persona, if you do not plead in your proper person, you admit jurisdiction, which means you grant. Because you being in your proper person is knowing who you are, knowing your rights, knowing which laws apply to you, knowing which laws don't apply to you, etc. Tribunal. So if there's a party missing from the tribunal, is it a tribunal?
No.
If there's a leg missing from a tripod, is it a tripod? No, if there's a leg missing. If there's a wheel missing from a quad, is it a quad? It's a tricycle. Exactly. Simple, right? It's not complicated at all. It's just when they bring charges against our people, it's like something crazy, like 45 years for having a plant in your pocket. You're scared because you don't want to do 45 years. So you just agree to anything that your attorney says because it sounds like they're going to make that 45 years turn into 10. And you only do 5. If that. And you call that a deal. What'd you get out of that deal? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You lost money, you did time. What'd you get out of that? Nothing. So how's it a deal? If that's a deal, give me $10,000 and you get nothing. Sounds like a fucking deal to me. I'll make that deal with anybody in this room. Give me 10 stacks right now and you get nothing. All right, and then in the Bible it says what? My people perish by the day for lack of knowledge. Who here has ever said knowledge is power in this room? So you know it's true. So why do you think all these people got all this power? Because they know something we don't. Any questions? Simple stuff, right? Waiver of rights. Oh, here's one. This is Bassett versus State. Law requires that the corpus delicti be established independently of any confession before the confession is admitted into evidence. So if you have a gun, it is required that an injured party is established before any confession can be entered into evidence. So if I say, hey, I murdered someone and they can't find a body, then I didn't do it. Right? Just like all these rappers talk about, they're catching bodies in all these songs. They putting all these people in these packs and they smoking them. They're murdering people, cremating them, sprinkling their ashes in their blunts, and then smoking them, and then rapping about it. There'll be a lot of dead people. So clearly they didn't commit no murders. Unless a body's found. Exactly. So now, if you have a gun on you, if you have 20,000 guns in your pocket, and
It's a big pocket.
20,000.
you got a Mary Poppins pocket,
20,006.
Who's the injured party? Who's the injured party? You got 20,000 guns in your pocket right now. Who's injured? No one. So he ignored you. Exactly. You got 20,000 guns in your pocket. Who did you hurt?
Probably your pocket.
Guess what language this is? Corpus delicti.
Latin.
Now, doesn't it say in the Constitution that you have the right to face your accuser? Wouldn't your accuser be the injured party? So if you have 20,000 guns in your pocket, who did you injure? No one. So does a court have jurisdiction to prosecute you? Absolutely not. You think any of our people know any of that? Fuck no. Who's the prison industrial complex targeting? Us. And guess who don't know this? Us. And then, right, you get the black attorney saying, oh, I'm advocating for black and colored people's rights. How come they ain't telling you this? Exactly. How come they ain't telling you that?
Wouldn't this be a requirement for them to know this in order for them to have a quote-unquote law? So for it, by them flaunting a piece, they're just saying I'm doing you harm and I know it.
I'm playing you, Because if they don't do their job, they don't get their admission into the bar, so they can't even play you anymore. So they have to play you. That's their job, to play you. A turn means to turn over. Their job is to turn you over. And then smile in your face. Oh, don't worry, I dropped it from a felony, so misdemeanor. You're getting a good deal out of this.
Have you been to court a lot?
That's the funniest question you heard all week.
I was in reaction.
I was in court. I was in court last week.
It's last week.
Last Thursday.
You go all the time?
All the time.
It's just hilarious the whole time. You have to like hold it in, like.
Nah, it's annoying.
Yeah, I know you're looking.
Because they're playing games, and they know when you know, so they play games even more. And then they get mad.
Trying to prolong it.
Yo, they gotta be tired. They gotta be tired.
I think that's like the
Now they are.
Like
Is it
like
prolonged
people
because
because
they
they
don't
don't
Yeah.
expect you to know nothing, right? So when you start talking,
They be like, wait.
now they
So,
start to
like-
play dumb. So both of y'all just sitting there like, we both gonna play stupid, or we gonna take turns playing stupid? Like,
Because now imagine, right? They just start agreeing openly. 90% of the people are gonna fire their attorney. You know how many people are gonna lose their job?
Like, what the fuck he just did?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So they make it hard. They prolong it, and then people forget, and then they dismiss it on.
I don't got time for this.
This is McQueen versus State. No criminal conviction may be based upon an extrajudicial confession by the defendant himself unless there's prima facie evidence of the corpus delicti of the crime independent. Meaning it don't matter about how many raps you rap about and all these guns you have. If there's no injured party, they don't exist. No face, no case, right? Well, then no injured party, no crime. Why do you think the mafia fucking puts people in the bottom of the or in garbage compactors? Because they know law. Why do you think Carol Baskin fed her husband to a tiger? He got all that money. No face, no case.
They know what it is. They say it all the time on the internet, but they just don't like.
No dental records, no nothing. It's just tiger shit.
And my phone died.
Carol Baskin. She's more of a hitter than most of our people. She catches bodies. This is fucking crazy. All right, waiver of rights. Poindexter versus Greenhow. Waiver of constitutional rights not only must be voluntary, they must be knowingly intelligent acts done with sufficient awareness. Carnley versus Cochran. Presuming waiver from a silent record is inadmissible. The record must show, or there must be an allegation and evidence which shows that an accused intelligently and understandingly rejected or waived their right. Anything less is not a waiver. Miranda versus Arizona. I already read that one. Hoffsmer, whatever, versus Hayes. The courts are not bound by any officer's interpretation of the law under which he presumes to act. The right to file a lawsuit pro se is one of the most important rights under the Constitution and laws. It said the right, wait, one more time. The right to file pro se is one of the most important rights under the Constitution and laws. Elmore versus McCammon. So didn't it just say that a right which is free and open to all is not subject to a license or a tax? You know that a tax is a fee? You know that if they ask you to pay to file a claim in court, there's a fee? You know they're taxing you? Because aren't we told, oh, taxes paid for government, right? Isn't the courts part of the government? Which means if you pay taxes, you don't have to pay to file shit in court. So even if you believe you're a U.S. citizen, you don't have to pay shit to file shit in court. Right? Jenkins versus McKenneth, Picking versus Pennsylvania Railroad Company, and Puckett versus Cox. Pro se pleadings are to be considered without regard to technicality. Pro se litigants' pleadings are not to be held to the same high standards or of perfection as lawyers. So can any one of you file a claim pro se?
Yes.
Can they treat you like shit because you're doing that?
No.
No. Can they give you a hard time? No.
Will they give you a hard time?
Really?
Yes.
No, we're not talking about that. Owens versus City of Independence. And Hafer versus Mello. Officials and judges are deemed to know the law. Any questions? There's more. I just stopped right there. Any questions on that so far? I'll read it one more time. Officials and judges are deemed to know the law and sworn to uphold the law. Officials and judges cannot claim to act in good faith in willful deprivation. They certainly cannot plead ignorance of the law. Even the citizen cannot plead ignorance of the law. So, do they know that you have the right to bear arms?
Yes.
Even if they didn't, can they say, well, I didn't know? No, they fucking can't. So, since they know you have the right to bear arms, can the people be charged with possession of a deadly weapon? No.
Not without an injured party.
Not without an injured party. Meaning, you'd have to have that gun probably pointed in someone's face and they get scared. You injured that person. Like the police, exactly. Like the police do every single goddamn day to our people. Or you would have to use that gun. Shoot someone in the toe or something. Shoot their shoelace off or something crazy like that. Then there's a crime. Because if possession of a weapon is a crime, every cop should be in jail. Every military person should be in jail. The entire Secret Service should be in jail. The entire FBI should be in jail. Since no one's above the law, right? Right? If simply having it is a crime, then none of these people should be.
And they can't argue that they're protecting us because
That's not their job. Tap versus Tallahassee.
They showed you say that protect and serve.
Say that anymore.
I mean, they do. I mean, it says it some place, but they never go specific to say protect and serve corporations. They just leave that protect and serve.
Williamson versus United States Department of Agriculture and Foundation versus Barr. It is the duty of all officials, whether legislative, judicial, executive, administrative, or ministerial, to so perform every official act as to not violate constitutional provisions. Is that my opinion? Or is that Williamson versus the U.S. Department of Agriculture? Illegal arrest. An illegal arrest is an assault and battery. The person so attempting to be restrained of his liberty has the same right to use force in defending himself as he would in repelling any other assault and battery. State versus Robinson. So now, if the police say, hey, you have a gun in your pocket, and you say, yeah, I have 20,000, and they arrest you, isn't that an illegal arrest? Don't you have the right to resist? Am I telling you to resist? No. Because obviously they're going to fucking shoot you. Because there's proof online of them pulling our people over. They tell the cop, hey, I have a license to bear arms. I'm getting my license out now. And they still get shot. But according to State versus Robinson, an illegal arrest is an assault and battery. The person so attempted to be restrained of his liberty has the same right to use force in defending himself as he would in repelling any other assault and battery. State versus Robinson. State versus Mobley. Each person has the right to resist an unlawful arrest. In such a case, the person attempting the arrest stands in the position of a wrongdoer and may be resisted by the use of force. Self-defense. State versus Mobley. So, if you see someone on the ground in cuffs and another person with their knee on their neck, are you going to just pull your phone out? Say, hey, what are you doing? Hey, that's wrong. If your child does something wrong, what do? You stop them, right? 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 Common sense, right? Adams versus State. One may come to the aid of another being unlawfully arrested, just as he may where one is being assaulted, molested, raped, or kidnapped. So if you see someone getting hurt, should you pull out your phone? Maybe pull it out, set it up somewhere so you can see the whole thing.
But not only pull it
But not just pull your phone out when 17 other people also have their phone out.
Fair.
I'll read that one more time. One may come to the aid of another being unlawfully arrested, just as he may where one is being assaulted, molested, raped, or kidnapped. Thus, it is not an offense to liberate one from the unlawful custody of an officer, even he may have submitted to such custody without resistance. How come none of these black attorneys, none of these black so-called political activists are telling you this? This is Adam versus State.
They lose their job if they tell you that.
Why are these black activists who are so for the people and these attorneys that are so for the people, why are they not telling you this? Because then you don't pay them.
You have to give this little evil.
Then you can fight for your own rights, sue for 10 million, and you keep the entire 10 million. They want you to sue for 10 million, settle for 5, and they get 3.
And pay your lawyer.
Yeah, and you gotta pay court fees.
They want 3. That's
Don't
the
get
funny
court
thing. They want
and taxes. Don't forget your taxes. You gotta pay those taxes.
3. Like my brother, his lawsuit right now, the attorney he got, I don't know if I told you about it or not, but that's what he asking for, like 33.3333333. The winning.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you get like a lottery ticket, you don't have to pay taxes on it.
Why would you?
Right?
Why would you?
Don't they take it before they give it to you?
Absolutely.
You have to go to court to get the rest.
Absolutely.
But that's free, but you just gotta go.
All right.
Little trip.
There's a bunch of other stuff in here that I'm not going to read. Any questions? No questions?
I got a question.
Yeah.
You said it's Adams versus State?
Yeah.
Like if it's coming, so it's saying like somebody being unlawfully arrested is the same as somebody being
Raped.
kidnapped, molested. So
We'll just leave it at rape.
Huh?
An unlawful arrest is rape.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that's what I'm saying. So that's basically what I was getting at. So an unlawful arrest is basically the same thing as witnessing any other of them things that's listed in
Yes.
the case law.
Yes.
So if you was to aid, like I'm just imagining. I'm trying to imagine, like if you see somebody getting kidnapped
you're not gonna aid them by pulling out your camera. I mean, so.
So look, let's look at this, right? What's that cop that murdered George Floyd? What's his name?
Something.
Chauvin? Right, so he was found guilty, right? So that would have meant that if anyone was out in that case, it would have been good, right? But they just stood there.
For how long? 8, 9 minutes?
8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Everybody's on TV like, looking on their phone.
Yelling. That's it. Did yelling save his life? Emotions save his life. No. So emotions don't do shit. Go to Etymon online, right? Look up emotion. And it'll say to push away. So if you're trying to achieve justice, which means bring it closer to you, why are you pushing it away? When someone's mad at you, doesn't that push you away? Like, I don't like that feeling. That pushes you away, right? When someone's overly attached to you, don't that push you away? Like, yo, leave me the fuck alone. Emotions used to push away. He's blindfolded. Because emotions don't mean shit. What you look like don't matter. Nothing else. Baby's alright? She's emotional. Huh? Yeah, like, what y'all doing? Any questions on that?
I'm about to leave. How can I purchase this?
On my website, you can give me cash.
You can take cash out.
Yeah.
Thank
If there's no other questions, we can just relax. Class is over. If there's no questions. That was just an introduction. Everything I do is an introduction, with the expectation that you're going to go into more detail in your own time. Because I'm not going to save you, and I cannot save you in court. It don't work like that. Because we're dealing with an oppressive system that we all know violates everyone's rights. So they're not about to just let you do whatever you want. That's why earlier, like the first class, I talked about us putting someone in office, whether it be a woman or a mayor, because then the mayor or the city or woman can ensure that these rights do not get violated. Police know what res judicata is. That the police know they can't arrest you for simply having a gun, despite state law, because that state law is contrary to the Constitution, and they know it. So now imagine we had a mayor promoting that. Imagine that. Imagine we had a mayor promoting the citizens to sue in federal court, encouraging the citizens to do that. Imagine. Imagine we had a mayor demanding that the city solicitor, who's basically the attorney for the city, represents every single citizen within the city and fights for the exoneration of their records of nonviolent crimes. Pro bono, meaning for free. Imagine that. What type of change would that have? A significant amount. Imagine we had a mayor saying that this city is a Second Amendment sanctuary. You can openly bear arms, as long as you're not found about to fucking commit a crime, or we will blow your goddamn brains out. Just react to blow your goddamn brains out. Imagine we had a mayor saying, this is a ICE sanctuary, meaning we will not support the unconstitutional detention of children and men and women. Imagine that. Imagine the mayor said, we do not support the unconstitutional income tax. Imagine that. Peace.
Thank you.
Can you imagine that? Imagine if the mayor said, Are you familiar with House Resolution 25, Fair Tax Act of 2019? You are? You are? Imagine, right, we had a mayor that went on TV, right? What channel is out here? Channel what? 10, 6, whatever the fuck. Go local prob. Imagine the mayor's on there saying, oh yeah, we don't support the unconstitutional taxation of our citizens. If you read House Resolution 25, Fair Tax Act of 2019, multiple congressmen and women since 1999 have declared the federal income tax and other taxes unconstitutional. So we're going to ensure that if you have a job, if you go to work, we're going to ensure that when you fill out that W-4B from the IRS's website, which means voluntary, you fill out number 7 on the IRS document W-4B, which specifies that you want them to stop taking taxes from your paycheck, we will ensure in this city that our city solicitor protects you from IRS audit or any IRS case. How much is income tax? About at least 40% of your paycheck, right? That means $300 on the first and $300 on the 15th, at least, that you'll be getting back. Imagine what you can do with that every month. Imagine how many more businesses we have. Imagine what we could do with these abandoned properties. Imagine how thriving the city would be. Because the city's the people. So if the city's the people, who do you invest in? The people. Can you imagine that?
How about you just become the mayor?
Me? Absolutely not. They will murder me forthwith and
I was
henceforth.
just gonna say, that was my next thing.
No. No. My job is to teach the people, and then the people will elect from amongst themselves who they want to be mayor, based on who's best fit to represent them in that capacity.
Either way, going with that.
Yeah, but as long as there's multiple elements, right? Right, we can have out of all of us, let's say this is the political people. These are the people that's going to make sure that we have a representative. These are the people who do the local militia to make sure that these people are protected.
Right.
These are the people that's going to continue to teach to wake everyone else up. That's organizing. Guess who don't do that? Us.
That's community.
That's exactly.
Have we touched on the militia?
No. And that the community is what created the city. It's just they took control of that and divided it into wards. So now, since the wards are divided, you might have people on both sides of the ward, but not enough people to elect a representative in that one ward. So now they're messing with the people's ability to unite politically. That is an agenda. But guess who can change that? The people, excuse me. Guess who? The people, guess. Take a guess.
Me, you, him,
Children.
her.
Children.
So our job, if you care about your own goddamn life, is to teach the youth. Because they're going to get fucking mad. When they find out this information, they're going to be fucking pissed.
They're already
Which is
not
why-
finding out a lot of information. The younger children are more woke.
Yes, that's what I'm about to say. Which is why they have government-funded programs to get the youth involved to waste their time and energy.
I say
Be like
they
yelling.
have the words to explain it.
Yeah, they know morally something's wrong.
Kids have been rebelling each generation more and more. And we just, you hear adults saying all the time, oh, these kids are growing up, they're just getting worse and worse. Nah, they just know that we bullshit and we're not,
Facts.
whatever we say, we're not backing it up or we're not leaving anything for them. We're just letting them grow up and letting them.
We're just
do
saying, well,
everything on
that's
their
just how it is. We're giving up. Like fucking cowards. That's it.
We should definitely have like a civic class chat throughout the week in case anybody has anything.
Hey, Grand Sheik, what you think about like doing mock trials?
Mock trials?
I was thinking like the same way, but I was thinking about like
the fact that they use like procedure, right?
Yeah.
They go through a list of things, like even in Michigan, right? So at least that far away, it's the same thing. You come in, it's a random dude screaming out your name, and then that's the dude that's gonna try to be your attorney and get you the plea deal or whatever it is. And I know the prosecutor, so that thing like is completely like uniform.
Absolutely.
So, like, make it a
It's a well-oiled machine. They just put everybody through the same cycle no matter
exactly.
the situation.
script, like coming up with like a script for people to use.
Yeah, that's a
like,
sales pitch.
to tell your attorney if
Scripts
they
don't
try
work.
to use your attorney.
Scripts don't work because we're dealing with humans.
Right.
So if the human knows or is trying to test to see what you know, they're gonna change the subject or word it a different. They're gonna say the same thing but word it a different way. And if you're so reliable on a fucking script, meaning you don't know the information,
Right.
you're gonna lose every single time.
And that's how they
The
put it
best
on the
thing to
case.
do is
Well, that's why I don't encourage that. Because then I'm pacifying you.
Right.
Nah, study is can so you know when you get in there, they can't screw you over anyway.
And court is open to the public.
What you
can
saying?
go in and
That's how they put it on the case.
Yeah, they repeat the same shit over and over.
So like a break or a recess, that's not, you can't be like, you can't, I'm in the middle of, like, they like break or recess or whatever. You're like,
They do that to reset the record.
yeah. So shit like, so I was in the middle of it, but being in the middle of it, you're not retaining nothing, you just, I'm worried about,
You're a victim.
I got crazy emotions, you're in there, you're breathing crazy, your family's over there, you know what I'm saying? So all that, whatever happened, he gave the paper to him, whatever, the judge did this, told you something, that shit, you don't remember none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's tough. I can know as much as I would like need to know going in there. I'm just worried about what the hell they gonna throw back at me. Be like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why I encourage people to study. One way to study is go to court. Go to court, listen, and write shit down.
Because I want to nationalize and I want to change my name and do all that shit anyway. Is that wasted effort to go and clear my corporate name of a record? If I plan to, you think it still work going back there? And
Yeah,
doing that?
because we don't got shit established. So when you nationalize, you're nationalizing into nothing.
Right.
The goal is to get us nationalized and we stick together so that way when other people nationalize, okay, you can community and we can solve problems together. Right now we don't have that. And that's just the fucking truth.
So you gotta fight underneath that.
No,
Right.
no, absolutely not. You can still fight as a more, but just know it will be easier if we fought together. It will be easier if we put people in office, because then when those people fight, it's a completely different ballgame. And as long as we support whoever we elect, a fucking rat. And then every single person that has the same situation as you, and every other person that we're gonna help, they're automatically gonna vote. Because they're going to be speaking about issues that the people are facing and giving the people a solution.
No way you do it either.
Can you vote as a national?
Absolutely you can. Rights of indigenous people. This is your land, right?
Yep.
And don't it say in the rights of indigenous people that you have the right to voice your opinion in any legislation that may or may not affect you? Don't it say in the Charter of Providence that the city shall include the inhabitants of this area? Well, don't you inhabit this area? Okay, then you.
So I didn't hear this question, but I did want to ask you a question about nationalizing.
Yeah.
Being that we not that, I guess, a centralized organization or whatever you want to call it, are you really just relying on like proclamations and notices? For the time being?
No, you don't have to do none of that shit. What I'm saying is there is no centralized area to go to because there's no communities. I'm suggesting we form a community, which this is the start. And from that, once there's more people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 50 people, 20 people, we put someone in office. From that point forward, that person can put on the record who we all are, who Moors are, what our rights are. So that way, as people wake up, they don't have to put anything on the record. It's already known. That solves the problem. That has the potential to solve the problem. And once we get a Moorish mayor in office, we can ensure that that mayor instructs the chief of police of what our rights are. As an example, it says indigenous people cannot be forced out of their homes. So if there's a foreclosure or rent or whatever, the police ain't showing up to kick Moors out. That's actual change. And that applies to any issue that Moors have whatsoever.
Is there anything, I guess, official that you should have when it comes to that? Because when you face to face in a situation like that, is there anything that's a protective layer that you should have?
Someone in office. That's the protective layer.
If you mean for like right now, you can fill out your nationalization paperwork. It's literally, I don't want to say that it's pointless, but it kind of is because we don't have like centralized.
We don't have anyone enforcing that.
Exactly. It's really the paper is really just for you to be able to articulate to somebody else what the paper is, if that makes sense. But like as far as the nationalization papers, like we filled them out, but we've never sent them to anybody. We haven't put anybody on record. But us going to court, state court, federal court.
Written newspaper articles about us.
Exactly.
That's public record.
They are, and they know. You could literally go on YouTube and say, "Hi, what is your name? I'm Shannon Moore, and this is what you can call me now if you decide to change your name."
Or you can just start telling people who you are, and then that constitutes a name change.
Right, the common law, let's say that you kind of like started it off with it, like everybody having, like, common law being common sense and everybody having free will, because God gave you free will. So it's basically like, if you want to be called something different, then you don't have to get permission from nobody to do that.
Yeah, you just identify.
Like when you was a child, your parents named you obviously because they had the jurisdiction or the authority to name you at that time. So when your mental status or your
competency,
once your competency comes to a certain level, then you know what I'm saying, you don't want to be called a slave. Like Muhammad Ali is the best situation of how he is. I don't want to be called by my slave name.
You can do this.
I want to be called Muhammad Ali. So it's like, yeah, the people who talk like that, like I said,
You can literally
figure out
just
what
say
way to
so.
make you quiet, one way or another.
There's a lot of conflicting information.
I think that's probably the most discouraging part. A lot of people just don't want to deal with any pushback, any.
It seemed to me like it's just people that don't want to do physical like work.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
paperwork.
Yes.
That's the problem.
And then
Spe-
there's armed.
For sure. Like I came into contact with the right people early, so I never really fell for it. But I remember like Clubhouse kind of hit, and everybody was on Clubhouse. There was a lot of Moors on Clubhouse too. They had like these rooms, and like Moors were just in there just telling people like, you can't be a Moor unless you file it through here.
That's not true.
You're born a Moor.
Isn't that now?
Really, you don't need to need paperwork because you were born.
And that's what I was arguing. I was just like,
So what they're mixing is, since our people have organizational loyalty problems, they try to force you to be part of their organization so that way they can actually do something. You know what I'm saying? Because our people would, a lot of people have come to me, gotten the information from me, gotten the case dismissed, and just left. Like, I haven't seen them ever again. When it would be more beneficial if they stuck around, so that way they can help me teach more people, we can wake more people up, and then we can actually make more change to the point where your situation don't even fucking happen again. That's actual change. That's actual justice. But our people aren't trained to think like that. So, if you care, stick around. If you don't, continue to suffer. It's not my problem. We're all suffering. So, put someone in office and stop that shit, or we can continue spitting these bars. No justice, no peace. Stop the racist police. No justice, police. Stop the racist police.
He's about to be our mayor.
The same bar since 1940. What changed?
Manny, what's up?
Nothing.
Say
He's
what?
about to be our mayor.
What?
As a barber, you know a lot of people.
I'm trying.
I mean, it's gonna be the same thing. I mean,
See, if we get a candidate for mayor, all we have to do is ensure that they're not dumping all the information.
They gotta
Just-
do it strategically.
Just speak about the specific issues that's going to benefit all the people, and you're going to get all the fucking votes. Unless they're some oligarch and they know what's up. But all the people that don't really know what's going on, once you start telling them about House Resolution 25, I can keep all my taxes, what? I can keep all my money in my yeah, I'm voting for you.
Right.
Automatic. Oh, you said Article 13, Section 5 of Rhode Island State Constitution says I don't have to pay car tax? I'm voting for you.
Nobody ever said that shit once.
Why would they? They don't benefit them.
it's like That's like Rick Ross losing his sponsor or whatever it's called.
That's like Rick Ross having to be identified as Rick Ross because that's not who he is. He stole his whole identity from the real Rick Ross. It don't benefit him.
As soon as I said Rick Ross, I knew he was like
His name is like Gerald fucking Roberts III or some bullshit like that. He never sold drugs in his life. You got all his stories from being a correctional officer, and people think, oh, he's the biggest boss. Bro, he's literally the ops. And all people made him rich.
he might have been a double agent though. So
And they say, oh, he's being facts. That's not even his real name. That's not even his original created rap name. Whole stolen identity. Love him. Love his music. Like, bro. Come on. What are you doing? Anyway.
Hold on, don't you go by Cujo?
Oh shit.
Facts. I'm reincarnated though, so it's different.
Oh, okay, valid. That's a valid point.
So yeah, back to stop trying to get off my square, you op. Back to the facts of these situations. With a political candidate, we can actually make change and ruffle a lot of feathers, which is always fun to me.
Search of a mayor.
Who gonna be brave enough to do it, man? That's what I want to know. People ain't even brave enough to.
It don't have to be about bravery. It could be about any one of our people that's honestly interested in politics. All we gotta do is find that right person and teach them more.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's the fear element. Like if we just.
I'm telling you.
People who
This is-
also like attention and spotlight are usually diplomatic in general. So
Exactly.
as long as we get somebody who likes to spotlight, who likes to network and talk to people, who's well spoken, who has an answer for everything.
Who we can trust and go sell out.
They don't need an answer for everything.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
They'll have us to support them. This is what you talk about during this interview, and that's it. And ensure that whatever it is they're talking about is House Resolution 25.
Like, how do we know this person ain't gonna sell out if they offer the money? You know what I mean?
I mean, we know where they live, right? We're the ones that's pushing their campaign, right?
Nobody wants to.
I see.
Nobody wants to get it dirty.
The militia, right?
Right, 'cause that's gonna be the real case right there.
Ain't no one gonna switch up if we know exactly where they live. Come on. If they're our candidate, we're gonna know where they live.
Everybody in the militia gotta be a spook.
Well, if you remember what the mob did, they backed certain presidents and they would have pictures of certain presidents dressed in women's clothes and all kinds
Hey,
of.
we gotta do all that though.
No, but I'm saying like as an
Hey, fuck this
example,
goat and take
You
this
can
goat.
have like some type of dirt on them or their backgrounds.
You gotta
that
be
way-
able to.
The background is we know where you live, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I see it more of like okay, for example, right, the president got all these like bodyguards, personal security, and blah blah blah. A Moorish politician, right?
Yep.
A real Moorish politician is gonna need the same thing.
Yep.
Right. So it's gonna be a Moor surrounded by Moors, right? Because if it's not that, then what is just like this random Moor? Okay, you don't use attorneys, but you use European bodyguards,
Yeah.
or you use like, so it's like,
Yeah, but look,
wouldn't that have to be like?
absolutely, you're absolutely right. How many of us know someone who don't have a job? That could be their job. I can train them. I was a Marine.
I might say, let me know. I quit my.
There's a solution to the problem.
I quit jobs for fun. For fun.
Right. Also, do you know that the mayor appoints like at least 5 people, meaning he gives them jobs within the city?
Yep.
And did you know that if we had a council person, all the mayor needs is approval from the council? So if we had what's out here, Ward 10 and 9, right?
This over here?
Right on the south, 10 and 9. Think so? Which is Elmwood and basically here. So if we had 2 councilmen or women that are also Moors, and the Moorish mayor wants to elect or appoint certain Moorish people to certain positions, and they get approval from the council, well then guess what? We have a whole Moorish city now. So you think if we have a Moorish city, if you think we have a Moorish mayor alone, any Moor has to fill out any proclamation papers? No. You think any Moor is going to have any issues with the right to travel? No. You think Eddie Moore's gonna have any issue trying to find work? No. You think Eddie Moore's gonna go to jail for a crime they didn't commit? No. You think Eddie Moore's gonna go to jail for a victimless crime, which means it's not a crime? No. You think there's gonna be any unlawful kicking down doors by the police? No. Who do police answer to? The chief of police. Who's the chief of police answer to? The mayor. Who put the mayor in office? Us. What's the mayor's nationality? Moorish American. What's our nationality? Moorish American. Any questions? Simple. And it's not hard. There are people within the city that want to run for office. All we have to do is ensure that they know the same information we know and support them. And if they switch up, well, guess what? We got you on camera going to Jamal's class talking about House Resolution 25, Fair Tax Act of 2019 from the Library of Congress. How come you in your mayoral capacity aren't enforcing this? No mayor wants that. Want to know why? Because they want to run again.
Would you start on the council level, city council level?
We can start on any level that the people are ready for.
I know there's another person that's running, but I don't know the guy.
Like I said, all we need is anyone willing, anyone that actually cares for the people, and anyone that once presented with new information can accept that information. Can all of you pull your phones out, please?
Yeah.
Google search.
You won't.
Yeah, you won't. You'll move out here.
She be capping.
You won't. Straight cat. Congress.gov. Space R2 Fair Tax Act of 2019, which was also introduced to the floor of Congress in 1999, 2008, 2015, and 2019. How many of you know about this? How many of you have known about this before 2019? This was introduced. This has been introduced to the Senate and House of Representatives since 1999, and you just now find out in 2019. There's a problem. So go to Congress.gov. Just Google it. Congress.gov. House Resolution Fair Tax Act 2019. Click on the link from Congress.gov. That it's not Jamal's opinion or Jamal's belief or risingthemoorsopinion.com or Jamal's religious doctrine dogma whatever the fuck bullshit marchandpray.gov. Right? Click on it. Then click on text. Make sure you click on the actual text. And someone please volunteer to read. You get a golden sticker for a good job. And by sticker, I mean I'll just say you did a good job.
All right.
My jokes are the best, huh? You gotta tell me. I already know. Go
All
ahead.
right.
William Jokes is dry.
Wow.
He needs some milk.
This bill imposes a national sales tax on the use or consumption in the United States of taxable property or services in lieu of current income taxes, payroll taxes, and estate and gift taxes. The rate of the sales tax will be 23% in 2021, with adjustments to the rate in subsequent years. I couldn't get over that 23. There are exemptions from the tax for use in intangible property, for property or services purchased for business, export, or investment purposes, and for state government functions. Under the bill, family members who are lawful U.S. residents receive a monthly sales tax rebate, family consumption allowance.
Don't that mean money back, right?
Yeah, right?
Who don't want money back?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you don't want money back. Oh, I'm about to say, what are you doing? What else is that?
Based upon the criteria related to family.
Wait, let me see.
What do I want?
You're reading the summary. Always go to the text. That's what you really want.
Okay.
But still, you get money back. Who don't want that? Remember, all these congressmen and women say, we care about the rights of the people. But you don't know this. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, we read it again.
Yeah, read from where it says a bill.
A bill. To promote freedom, fairness, and economic opportunity.
Heard that? To promote freedom, fairness, and economic opportunity, which means without this, there is no freedom, there's no fairness, and there's no economic opportunity. Go ahead, please.
To promote freedom, fairness, and economic opportunity by repealing the income tax and other taxes, abolishing the IRS.
Abolishing the entire IRS. That's what it says, right?
Yep.
Continue, please.
And enacting a national sales tax to be administered primarily by the states.
By the states.
All right. Let's see.
And go down to congressional findings. Keep going down. Yep.
There we go. All right. Congressional findings. Findings relating to the federal income tax.
So hold on. This is from Congress, right? This is from Congress, right? So did you know that when a bill is introduced, it's introduced before all of Congress? You know that, right? So all 356 or whatever it is, 436, whatever the number is, all of them, including the senators and representatives of Rhode Island, know about this. Continue, please.
All right. Findings related to the federal income tax. Congress finds the income tax, 1, retards economic growth and has reduced the standard of living of the American public.
Read that one more time.
Retards economic growth and has reduced the standard of living for the American public.
If taxes, federal income tax, retards economic growth, which means you ain't fucking growing economically, and reduced what?
The standard of living for the American public.
Reduce the standard of living, poverty, of the American public. So you think you're in poverty just because, oh, I'm just poor? Or are they taxing you to death? Isn't that what they just said? Isn't that what Congress just said? Congress just said that, right? Did I say that? Is that Jamal's, hold on, did you type in jamalsbelief.gov? Jamalsopinion.fucking-net? The whole purest Christian belief, holymoly.com, jesusgonasaveyou.com? Nah?
No, it's just the Lord.com.
Congress! Who is the highest legislative authority in the United States? Who?
Congress.
So they're telling you, their first sentence out of their own mouth is they're retarding economic growth. And they're keeping you in poverty. What else does it say?
Impedes the international competitiveness of the United States industry.
So they keep telling you, hey, the Mexicans are stealing all the jobs, so we can't compete, and China's doing all the stuff. China keeps making shit. When it's them.
He said he won't make it.
It's them, right?
He won't stop making shit.
It's them.
It
Continue, please.
reduces savings and investment in the United States by taxing income tax multiple times.
Wait, what? It taxes income multiple times so you can't save shit?
Yeah.
Is that what Congress has told you?
Yeah.
Was that Jamal's belief? Is that Jamal.com? You sure? Because I heard that motherfucker be making shit up. That's what I heard. People keep telling me Jamal's making shit
I
up.
heard you hacked that website, so every time you go to it.
Oh, every time you type in congress.gov, it really takes you to jamal.com?
Yeah.
I think you're on something. Continue, please.
Slows the capital formation necessary for real wages to steadily increase.
What? So real wages can't even increase. They keep saying raise minimum wage. Every time you raise minimum wage, guess what they do? Tax you more, stupid.
Biden just signed some.
40% is 40%. What do you?
Right.
They don't change. You make more, we take more. What's up? Let's play the game. You want $1.50 more? Fight for it first, stupid. And out of $1.50, I'm gonna take $1. What you won though? Continue, please.
Lowers productivity.
Lowers productivity. I thought the Mexicans were taking all the jobs. What happened? Good.
Imposes unacceptable and unnecessary administrative and compliance costs on individual and business taxpayers.
I got nothing to say to that one. Pretty self-explanatory.
Hurts. Is unfair and inequitable.
It's unfair and inequitable. Time out. Article 3, Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity. Time out. If Congress has declared federal income tax inequitable, what must the judicial branch say about federal income tax? It's inequitable. So, if you go to court for not paying the IRS, who must the court rule in favor of? You. Article 3, Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity. Federal income tax is what?
Unfair and inequitable.
Unfair and inequitable, which means it's what? According to the Constitution. Unconstitutional, which means what? The IRS cannot sue you, bring you to court, federal court, state court at all, because Congress has already declared it inequitable.
That's important as fuck.
Not only is it destroying your life, can't save shit, can't make no money, it's unconstitutional. Continue, please.
Unnecessarily intrudes upon the privacy and the civil rights.
Violates your Fourth Amendment right?
Citizens.
Right to privacy.
Yeah.
Continue, please.
Hides the true cost of government.
Hides the true cost of government. Continue.
By embedding taxes in the cost of everything Americans buy.
So you think, oh, the taxes go towards our roads, huh? You doing the fucking Junebug challenge and shit. And there's potholes on Broad Street since I was 9.
To the schools, although like Tolman has been the same since
Yup.
forever.
There's potholes on Broad Street since I was 9.
I can name them.
Yeah.
But you think taxes are being paid? Oh, it's going towards the roads and the schools and shit.
You said you named the miles?
Yo, I know that. That's the homie right there. Yeah, dodging.
That's the homie from 03 that gave me a flat.
Oh, you grown so big.
Yeah. What else?
Oh, man.
All right.
That's real Detroit shit, too.
Is not being complied with at satisfactory levels and therefore raises the tax burden on law-abiding citizens.
So, when you get $800 a month, right? You probably see about 5, right? How much is that every month? How much is that every month? How much?
That they're taking.
Yeah, out of the whole month, you make 8. They take about 2 or 3. Let's say 2. How much is that the entire year? So $200 times 12. How much is that?
24.
That's a lot.
That's $2,400, right?
That's a lot.
How much does Donald Trump pay? $750. So Donald Trump pays less taxes than you in that imaginary situation. So what did they just say? It's what? Not being complied with at satisfactory levels, which raises the tax burden on law-abiding citizens.
Yep.
Continue, please.
It impedes upward social
Impedes upward social mobility. Meaning you ain't getting fucking rich. Why? Because the more money you make,
The
the
more money
more
you take.
taxes they take. So all these black people talk about economic, black power, black dollar, black finances, invest in my black business. Who do you think they taxing the most?
Well,
So
to
really
be
it-
fair, right? It's not really fair. But people who make on the higher end of, or the lower end of middle class get more, like about 40%. If you make a little bit, if you're a little bit less than that, then you get taken out maybe 30 or 35%. Just, there's a little bit of difference.
But they keep saying tax.
Tax bracket.
Don't they keep saying tax the wealthy?
Yeah.
But then they're trying to get wealthy.
The wealthy don't,
What is
most of the
happening?
wealthy don't pay tax because they know
No.
about.
Let's not even talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk about that sentence. They say tax the wealthy, but then they're trying to get wealthy. That's like saying I'm gonna ride my bike, but every time I pedal, I'm gonna shove a fucking pole into the front tire. Why? Cognitive
Blame it on the niggas.
dissonance.
They know they ain't wealthy.
Continue, please.
All right. Findings related to federal payroll taxes. Congress finds further that the Social Security
Congress said, but wait, there's more.
Congress finds further that the Social Security and Medicare payroll taxes and self-employment taxes raise the cost of employment, destroy jobs, and cause unemployment.
Time out. Wait a minute. I thought the Mexicans were taking the jobs.
It's the IRS.
Nah.
It does what?
Raise the cost of employment and destroys jobs and causes
Destroys
unemployment.
jobs. And causes unemployment.
She's laughing.
Any questions on that? He's not done. I'm just saying. Any questions on that last part?
Crazy.
That's crazy.
The fact that it's just there. I didn't know.
Now you do. Continue.
Having disproportionately adverse impact on lower income Americans.
What else?
C. Findings relating to federal, state, and gift taxes. Congress finds further that the federal, state, and gift taxes force family businesses and farms to be sold by the family to pay such taxes.
So you can't even pay the tax, so they force you to sell your business and your land to pay the tax.
That's wrong.
Wait, didn't Prophet Noble Early say you're going to be taxed to death? Oh shit, continue.
Right. Discourage capital formation and entrepreneurship.
It discourages what?
Capital formation and entrepreneurship.
It discourages what? So now, right, you want a business, right? You got to pay for stock tax, business tax. Then if you want to hire people, you got to employment tax, your permits, your licensing. I'm not trying to do this shit. So is this conjecture? Is this theory? Or is this actually happening?
It's happening because I hear about it all the time.
Continue, please.
All right. Foster the continued dominance of large enterprises over small family-owned companies and farms.
He does what?
Continued dominance of large enterprises over small family.
So didn't that Asian market close up there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whole Foods still open though.
Yeah. Wow.
Why did the Asian market close? COVID? No one's going there to shop? How come Whole Foods still open?
Bigger support.
They got bailed out.
Yeah.
Because Whole Foods supports the prison industrial complex that keeps our people in jail.
Whole Foods is owned by Monsanto.
So shop at Whole Foods, you gotta get shit. It's gonna be good for you. Made by prisoners. So your people, slave labor by your people. It's good for you though. They got the fucking chips and shit that it's good stuff.
Farms are getting taxed heavily right now.
Continue, please.
Crazy.
Impose unacceptably high tax planning costs on small businesses and farms.
I was just about to put an advocate over there.
Yeah.
The iron.
Findings relating to the national sales tax. Congress finds further that a broad-based national sales tax on goods and services purchased for final consumption is similar in many respects to the sales and use taxes placed in 45 of the 50 states. Will promote savings and investment, will promote fairness, will promote economic growth, will raise the standard of living, will increase investment, will enhance productivity and international competitiveness, will reduce administrative burdens on American taxpayers, will improve upward social mobility, and will respect the privacy interests, and civil rights of taxpayers.
Civil rights.
Civil rights.
Don't all people complain about civil rights all the time? How come these black leaders ain't talking about taxes then? These black politicians, so-called Spanish politicians.
They got mortgages.
How come they ain't talking about this?
Does it benefit them?
They got buttons. They got like no buttons and stuff.
Why aren't they talking about this? Why?
You answered it myself, look.
Wouldn't it benefit them? Wouldn't you think that? Unless they're getting some type of secret benefit behind closed doors?
501c3 what?
Ask him questions.
He ran for mayor last time, he didn't win, but appointed him to some new thing, and now he's running again.
Ask him questions.
There's a Moorish woman, because you know how he just left, because whatever, and so
Ask questions.
yeah, I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna be like, what are they giving?
How much they pay you?
You know what we could do for real though?
No, some people don't know, like, the situation. Some people do, they absolutely do, but then some people are just.
But he's been in this for a long time, and he was like he was working directly with Marty Walsh, like even when he wasn't in here. So I'm sure he knows.
We could go to City Hall and ask all of them about this.
And we just plan a field trip next Sunday.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
We just plan a field trip and this is.
So should we do some outreach programs or something?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we gotta start doing some shit.
Yeah, we have some information that we can print out. We've done outreach before. We went to the projects, hand out information. It's just we need more people talking.
Who can speak
different
eloquently and at different levels, because there's going to be different people at different levels. So, you know, it depends on who is going to be speaking to which individuals
being relatable.
Exactly.
Some have real boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
We usually do it every summer.
I always go to dangerous places.
I'm with it. Come with a smile.
Yeah.
You do that all the time.
But I gotta like make a pamphlet because if I leave it up to him, he's gonna type up a booklet for people.
I'm my girl.
And it's like too much. It
girl.
needs to be something
What are you
simple
doing?
they can look at.
What are you
know
doing?
Where
you going?
Like a flyer, it may not say the town.
Yeah.
Start screaming in a second.
Where you going, girl?
But I was thinking like a pamphlet would just like
I saw that feet moving.
She said left foot, left stomp. Alright, so yeah, we can do whatever y'all want. Literally. It's the will of the people, and it's you're the people.
Pull up like this.
Them arms marches that you're doing, real polarizing, one way or the other.
Huh?
Gets people talk, when you walk in the street with your guns and stuff,
Yeah.
gets people feeling a certain way, you do it one way or the other. If you don't understand that, look at this real quick.
Yeah, exactly. So now if we have the militia with us walking around teaching people, our people are like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, people like that.
How do we enter?
Yeah, how do I be part of that? Oh yeah, come to class.
That's that visual will be a lot.
Yeah.
Because if we're trying to just like walk around handing out pamphlets, like how do we do it in a way
What
that's gonna
separates
grab
us?
people's
What
attention?
separates us
Yeah,
from Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yeah,
Guns.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's part of our
I'm
religion.
always like, we're not a church and we're not selling you
I was
nothing.
gonna say Fizz. I was gonna say Fizz.
No, but you will be surprised. We've been downtown several times, and there's a lot of people that know.
Yeah, and a lot of there's 5%ers. There's
Yeah, they know.
yeah.
There's a lot of people that know. People have ran up to us from like Kenny Plaza,
I have
that
been like
park,
Islam.
run through the park like, hey, we're looking for more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're
It's
here.
crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people know.
So it's just an organizational element.
Yeah, we have no
It's not really
organization.
convincing
We don't have organization, and we don't have organizational loyalty.
Yeah.
Because Rising Moors is an organization. We've been around for 3 years.
More.
But people don't stick around to what benefits them because it takes too long. It takes a long time to teach people.
Yeah.
Right? First you got to teach them, then they have to get the information, and then they have to know the information, and then they become beneficial to the group. You don't just give up on them in the beginning. Because then you just stay in the same fucking place.
Right.
Fucked. I'm tired of getting fucked.
We met with what's her name from this ward.
Carmen Castillo.
Yeah.
We met her one time.
Yeah, we've gone to City Hall. We've met with them. We actually had planned to go to the State House, right?
We had a lot of
We
plans.
had a lot of plans, but like he said, we grow a group of Moors, and then the Moors dwindle, and then we grow a group of Moors, and then the Moors dwindle. It's just like they come, they get what they need, their case
And then they
dismissed or whatever, and or the information, and then they leave. And
So nature proves that change happens slow. Every season is 3 months.
But they get hit with some philosophy and religion too, or not none of that?
Who?
Because that's what really is gonna carry you.
Who?
That's what like the people like when you hit in class and stuff like this, you have more.
Everything you're getting, I get.
Yeah.
I go over everything, and then my books go into more detail about everything. So there's nothing that's missing.
Pretty straightforward.
You get the spiritual shit, you get the political shit, you get the militia shit, and then you get the problem solving, and it affecting your everyday life. So what's missing? it's your interest in this because you rather go to the club.
yeah, and
That's what I'm saying. It's the mentality behind it.
and people don't want responsibility because once they know this information, now you have to do something about it, and they don't want to do
But it's
anything.
potentially about using all your time for something you'll never see.
You don't know that.
That's potentially you never.
Yeah,
you might-
potentially.
You know what I'm saying?
But
So,
what's the percentage of you seeing it?
pretty good too. You don't even know.
Yeah,
What
you don't know until you
percent-
try. You know what I mean?
Right.
And how much do you value the outcome of this situation?
She farted. And now she's laughing.
Like you have to know that you might not reap the benefits from.
That's what I'm
you're
saying.
doing.
It's an act of selflessness.
Well, do you have
When you're
children?
willing to, yeah.
That's why I always
Right
I
then.
always pitch about the kids. I'm talking about the
Right then.
Yeah.
Do that shit for them.
The face kind of switches up and tell them about their children real quick. They're like, oh, well, maybe. I'm like, yeah, what about him?
You gotta make it like more relatable than just somebody's face.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter to some people. That don't even matter.
It's natural.
So,
Natural
it's
born.
gonna take a few of us that are actually interested to make the change. Like I said, like if we have someone running for office and speaking about these things, the people are gonna see how it benefits them. Then they're gonna get involved. That's fine, as long as they help us put our candidate in office so we can actually make the change. Don't worry about them necessarily in the beginning. They're gonna come. Guaranteed, they're gonna come. Start talking to our people about not having to pay a mortgage. Mondo didn't. They're coming.
Yep.
Start talking to people about getting their rights back, getting your guns back, your right to vote back. They're coming. Start talking to people exonerating their record for nonviolent crimes, meaning you just had a gun on you and that's it. You just had drugs on you and that's it. Wipe away your record.
ICE is unconstitutional.
Yeah, start talking about ICE here. They're voting. Talk about the average blue collar worker, them saving all their paycheck. They're voting for you. They don't have to say there are more yet. Show up and vote. Hey, all they're gonna do is a slander campaign. That's all they can do.
No, I'm not saying so loud.
Yeah, no, I know, but if we find someone, right? Let's say we find someone who's young. They just graduated college or whatever it is, whatever the case is. We find someone that's interested in politics already. They can't say anything about them. What are they gonna say? Nothing. They can say a lot about me. So I ain't running. You know what I mean?
I mean, they gonna talk.
But I'm saying, right? Because this pictures of me with guns, my froze look out, so I look crazy.
But also,
No, listen. That's not bad. Hey, that's not bad to people that know what's up. But for the average person that needs to see a perfect person in a suit and whatever, it's gonna be bad for them. You know what I'm saying? So let's think. That's it. Let's not put me in front of my beard is crazy. Let's put someone that looks a little more well groomed than me. I'm cool with that because we all benefit. We all benefit. So who cares who it is? And we're gonna make sure our candidate has a grill in their mouth.
polarized.
Exactly. He looks good and he's with the shits. What's up? Or she, he or she. You know what I mean? Why not? That's funny. That's funny to you? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Oh, you love it? Oh. Say, have her sit in your lap and your ears are ringing.
yeah, try to put her to sleep while she does that.
It's 3 in the morning and she's laughing real big and screaming. We have like 10 minutes before she's screaming and crying.
This is a happy, sleepy phase. Then it's gonna be I'm mad and I'm trying to go to sleep, screaming phase. So enjoy it while it lasts.
No, he's so loud. He's so loud.
All right, so
He's so loud.
what y'all want to do next? So this is
Outreach. Let's go to the walk.
so we can keep doing classes every Sunday, and we can also do other shit throughout the week, like outreach.
It's also easier for people to keep things at once a week. So if we want to we can decide whether or not. We can probably just meet here on Sunday, and whether, depending, Mommy, we can be prepared for, we can be prepared for, like, have pamphlets to do the walks, like, walk around the neighborhood and talk to everybody. But if the rain is going next Sunday, then we'll just stay here, but we should plan to do some type of.
We also have to recognize that on Sunday, a lot of our people are at church.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
But not that many. Not.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah, they are, but that's like the elders, not the young people.
And grandma's bringing who?
Yeah, but like
The grandchildren.
people.
They partied last night, so it's hard for them to come in.
Oh yeah.
Downtown?
Media people, do we need our own cameraman?
Yes.
We gotta look like a big deal. We gotta look like a big deal. If we're walking like, and people are like, and people walking in, we're gonna be like, what's?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, listen, I even thought of us like literally at least having a group.
Alright,
Pick out a block and start like picking up trash and whatnot.
Yeah, we can do that too.
I'm down.
And that just looks good. Everybody, dressed up somewhat the same. Looks like a team taking care of the community.